hey, you might be on a road trip because your team is in the playoffs and you got to travel a lot.
Yeah.
You know, and you can't trust every Wi-Fi that you run into. Also,
No.
there's those pesky roaming charges, which, ew, am I right?
Yes, you are right.
So
Ew.
how about...
Why would they charge me for going places?
I know.
Right?
It's that they should encourage that, but no, they don't. They want you to pay to go places, but not with Saley. Saley's got you covered. With 160 countries, 8 regions around the world, you can buy an eSIM. All you have to do is download the app or go to Saley.com. And here's the thing. We're going to give you a discount. I'll talk about that in a second. Not only are eSIM plans awesome and you just download them and buy them for whatever country you're going to, but the great thing is it also provides Nord security. So that way you're not worried about somebody hacking in and stealing your information on like a free public Wi-Fi or something.
Well, I don't want that.
Exactly.
So that's a good service.
Here's what I would suggest you do, okay? Get an exclusive 15% discount on Saley data plans. Use the code DANGLE at checkout. Download the Saley app or go to Saley.com/dangle. 15% discount on Saley data plans.
SDP, the Steve Dangle Podcast, with your hosts, Steve Dangle, Adam Wilde, and Jesse Blake.
Well, hello there. Hello, everybody.
Hello.
Now, listen, we're here at Sport Check Maple Leaf Square, and we're here not celebrating a sweep. It didn't happen. It didn't happen.
No.
And I'm upset about it. I'm sad about it. Should I be worried about it?
Nope.
Okay, because all we're going to hear for the next couple of days, and Jesse and I were like bemoaning this because they're not playing Monday night, they're playing Tuesday night.
It's 2 nights off.
We were saying yesterday, we're like, man, if they lose this game, we're just going to hear all about the Leafs not closing so many times, over and over and over again. And to be fair, people might have a point. In closeout games in the Matthews-Marner-Nylander era, the Leafs are 1-12.
Right. So that's pretty bad, right?
Yeah, that's, oh man, so bad.
Well, here it is, a line in the sand for you. If you're going to worry and be anxious and hate the next 2 days, this might not be for you.
Oh.
Playoff hockey, the Toronto Maple Leafs, hockey in general might not be for you. So this is your opportunity to punch out, everybody. This is your opportunity to be done.
What do you mean? I don't understand.
What I mean is if every time the Leafs lose a playoff game, you're going to spiral. I mean, there are Netflix, Crave, Disney Plus.
Apple
you can
TV.
play Apple TV. You can play any number of instruments. There are concerts. There are movies. Do you know how many mountains and hills and lakes and valleys and gullies there are? Do you know how many animals float in the sea, fly in the sky, and roam our great lands? Do you know how many people there are to meet? And none of this has anything to do with hockey. You can be free of all of this. This never has to bother you ever again. Or you can sit in it and stew in your own toxic mess over the next 2 days as your team, oh woe is you, carries a 3-1 series lead onto home ice. Listen, their record sucks. It fucking stinks. It's very bad.
In closeout games.
In closeout games.
But their home record this year during the regular season was good.
It was very good.
It's also 2-0 in the playoffs.
So this is beautiful. You're going to get a concrete answer here. You might hate the next few days, in which case it might not be for you. But you might be rewarded with a Leafs win, in which case you were a silly goose. If they do lose Game 5, and they do you the courtesy of losing Game 6 and 7 as well, pull the chute. There you go. You know how the camera guy pulls his chute last?
Yeah.
You know, and they're right next to each other when they're skydiving together. And there he is way up there. That's you. Pull the chute and glide to safety. Never watch another hockey game again because this is not for you.
See, you're a little dramatic with it, as is your brand, which is appropriate, but you're not wrong. Because every time you start a series, you know, we make predictions, and everybody has in their mind what's going to happen. And a lot of people pick, like, Leafs in 5, Leafs in 6. And every time a loss happens, people are shocked. You know, like I picked this series Leafs in 5.
I said 6.
That means they got to lose a game, and you think they're going to lose 2 games. But then when the losses come around, people forget that you have to lose a couple games to win it in 6 or to win it in 5 or to win it in 7. But they see it seems like people are blown away that they didn't win all 4 games to then win the series in 6 games.
There's been one ass kicking this series. You were on the right side of it. There have been 3 overtimes this series. You were on the right side of 2 of them. You're going. You have not lost a playoff game at home this year.
Mm-hmm. There's a lot. I have a lot of thoughts on the actual game itself.
Sure.
But Steve, I wanted to bring up the losses because you were talking about them yesterday. You're trying to remember
all the closeout losses,
all the 1-for-12 record.
Okay,
and
I can probably do all of them.
Don't need to. Jonas Siegel in The Athletic put the chart on his article.
Thank you, Joe.
We have it here, Maddie. If you want to bring it up. That is the 1-for-12 the Leafs are from 2019 through to 2025 in closeout games. If you need it here, it's there too.
Yep. They don't have the scores.
They don't have the scores. I assume you remember every single one of these games vividly.
Do you have the scores?
No.
Okay, game 6 in 2019, I think was a 6-4 loss at home. The Bruins scored a lot. Jake DeBrusk had a great game. 2019 Game 7, they lost 5-1. Tavares had the only goal. 2020 against Columbus, I think they got shut out 3-0. 2021
wasn't that game 4-1? It was terrible.
They didn't show up at all.
It was terrible.
Their season was won coming back with 2 minutes down from a 3-goal lead or whatever it was, and then winning that game. And they're like, okay, we did it.
Yep.
And then they didn't show up for Game 5.
Terrible.
2021, they nearly lost. Oh, wait, no, sorry. Game 5. Oh, if you want to walk through this vividly, Leafs were down 3-0. Leafs tied it. Gauch blows it in overtime. Habs score on a 2-0. Game 6, Leafs down 2-0. They tie it. They run the Habs show. They outshoot them 12-2 in overtime. The second shot was Jesperi Kotkaniemi's game winner. Game 7 was a formality. They almost lost 3-0 again. Willie got a late one to make it 3-1. 2022, they lose in overtime to Tampa. I think it was Anthony Cirelli that was in Tampa. They lose 2-1 at home in Game 7 against Tampa. 2023...
Jesse and I were at that game.
Game 5.
That was the Justin Hall.
Yeah. Oh,
That's
right.
when they disallowed that goal because Justin Hall set a pick or
play.
something. Outrageously bad call.
Stupid.
That ref should have his head dunked in a toilet.
2023 Game 6.
Oh
2023.
They did it.
No.
Well,
we
2023 Game 5, though, Jesse.
Game 5, they lost. I don't remember how they lost, I will admit. 2026, obviously, John Tavares caught lightning in a bottle. Last year, they lose 2-1 in overtime to the Bruins, and then this one, they lose 4-3 in overtime to the Sens.
Wait. Caught lightning in a bottle?
Caught lightning in a bottle. That's the Chris Cuthbert call.
Oh, was it? Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Oh, that's good. I like that.
John Tavares, or the Maple
I was
Leafs
screaming too much. I didn't hear that call.
is finally caught lightning
I was
in a bottle.
screaming in my living room.
That's a really good call.
It's so
Like
good.
that's really good. That's up there.
That Chris Cuthbert. I wish he was a nicer guy.
Is he a nice guy?
We met him. We ran into him in San Jose.
Oh yeah,
We met a
he's
lot of
great.
people
I
in
think that was
San
the
Jose.
first time I ever met him. In
Yeah,
person.
no, just really, really genuinely good guy. I think all of those situations
are just like this one.
are exactly not like this one.
Like,
right?
come on, people.
You had a young team. Like, go just please in those games, go look at who dressed on defense for the Leafs.
Yeah.
Well,
Just
also,
do that. You understand why they never won.
everyone comparing it to 3-1, the 3-1 series against Montreal. Montreal came out in the first period of Game 5, and I think everyone went, "Oh shit!" Like it was a different Leafs team that showed up, and it was a different Habs team showed up.
Yep.
And even when it was 2-0 Sens, I didn't feel that way. It's a power play goal. Domi was dumb. Shorthanded goal. Give him credit. Tavares brings them within 1.
Yep.
And when he did that, I was like, they're tying it.
Yep.
You know what they did? They tied it.
They tied it.
Sens retook the lead. You know what the Leafs did again? They tied it. The Sens have shown no evidence in this series that they can hold on to a lead. None. And we're all apoplectic. And I'm not sure this is for you. I'm not sure.
Let me run you through, guys.
Yeah, you want to talk about the game?
I do want to talk about the game, but I just want to talk about the predictions to support your points.
Yeah,
Sure.
Okay.
yeah.
So I'm looking at the SDPN bracket challenge. Okay, on Spark. CJ has Leafs in 5. You have to lose a game.
He's the smart guy.
Drew has the Leafs in 6. Have to lose 2 games. Steve Dangle, Leafs in 6. Have to lose 2 games. Jesse Blake, Leafs in 5. Have to lose a game. Justin Fisher, Leafs in 6. Have to lose 2. I had Leafs in 5. Have to lose a game. Maddie, Leafs in 5. Hayden, Leafs in 5. Julian, Sens in 7.
Oh, baby.
He's right on schedule.
Yeah. So my point, again, the whole picture here is that this is the way it goes, and you do lose games. And, I do ask Colorado. They've lost 2 games in their series. Do they think that they're out of it?
They were down 2-1.
Yeah, it's
They
crazy.
can win it in 6.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It's completely fine.
New Jersey was down 2-0. Guess what they did? Won it in overtime.
There was, after the Lightning beat the Panthers yesterday, there was only 1 series that was eligible for a sweep. And now there's none.
Yep.
There's not going to be a single sweep this first round.
That's great. It's good for the game.
It is good for the game.
Sweeps are very difficult in the NHL. Like,
They're so hard. And what was it last year? It was the President's Trophy winner against a team that barely even made it.
yeah, Adam asked me that on the pregame, going into their pregame live stream yesterday, and I'm like, it's hard to win 4 games. I'm not surprised if the Sens come out and they get one.
Yeah. Now, game starts relatively well, and then Max Domi decides to add a face-off. Because Shane Pinto kind of whacked his stick on a face-off. He's like, you know what? I'm going to punch you right in the face with my glove on.
Max.
And it felt like one of those where there's the karma police are out for this one. We're going to pay for that.
Yeah.
We're going to pay for that. And we did. Tim Stützle got his first of the series from Sanderson and Tkachuk on the power play. Let's just talk about the penalty, because Max has been an overtime hero in this series. He's played pretty well. He's had his moments, and you do get that with Max.
Yeah.
But on the whole, I'd say net positive. Last night, that is a penalty you just can't take.
The whole line was a net negative last night, grossly and by a wide margin, especially in a game that they were trailing most of the time. You would think that would play to their advantage. Nope. Take care, Max Pacioretty. That was fun. I enjoyed it. We're not going to see him again.
You don't think so,
Not in Game 5. Maybe later in the series or later in the playoffs, but not in Game 5. I think Robertson gets in because it's home ice. But anyway, sorry. It was a really stupid penalty from Domi. This is not smart. Pacioretty, I don't think, had a very good game. And Bobby McMahon on that line is so ordinary. God, I loved him with Tavares and Nylander.
Well, that's why they moved him up.
That should start game, especially on home ice, that should start Game 5. And I think if it does, you breeze through it. I think you're fine.
So, but again, let's talk about the Domi penalty and the Stützle goal here.
Bad.
Yeah.
Bad.
Those are the little things that cost you hockey games in the playoffs.
Right.
That period was perfectly fine by the Leafs. The Sens came out playing really fast.
Yes.
I thought there was a noticeable difference.
Their season was on the line.
Between them in games 1 through 3 and Game 4 with their start of the game in particular.
Yep.
They're trying to play on the rush a little bit more, and they were getting a lot of chances with their speed, and everything was still okay at that point.
Yep.
The Leafs were getting outplayed a little bit, but everything was fine. And then you have a decision that is completely unforced. It is an unforced error by Domi that leads directly to a goal. And that's exactly what you don't want in the playoffs.
No.
It was bad.
The Sens have made the Leafs pay on a few really stupid penalties.
Yeah.
There was Willie in Game 3 and now this one from Domi. You gotta, the whistle's a little funny now because the Leafs power play is so crazy, except for in overtime. And I guess we'll get to that.
Yeah, we will.
But you just can't be giving them freebies like that.
Yeah, and
that's
a
freebie.
You're talking about the whistles, I think is important because games 1 through 3, we saw that the referees are calling everything. They're not putting the whistles away. It's not Game 6 and 7 yet. And that little stuff, you got to know how the previous 3 games are played. You can't take a shot at a guy in a faceoff dot. It's ridiculous.
And you might say, oh, it's the playoffs, that's soft. It's also That was like so early in the game. Was it like 3?
It wasn't a part of the play either.
Well, it wasn't
That's
a part
the
of
thing.
the play.
You can get
Yeah.
away with that if you do it in front of the net and you've got the guy's
And it's
jersey
part
and
of
you're
the game.
tussling. The play hasn't started.
No, and it's right in front of the ref. He's looking at it. And if the ref lets that go, he has set a precedent for the rest of the game that this is okay.
Yeah, that you can just knock two people out.
And-
Yeah,
and
he's
then-
not even like looking at it. He's standing over you while you're doing it.
Yeah.
Like he's
Yes.
directly in your face, and you're like, I'm gonna cross check this guy.
If
Like,
you allow
what?
that, then what you get is Game 2 Leafs Bruins from 2019, which to this day is like a Mount Rushmore most horrifically officiated game.
Because nothing
Maybe in
was
the
called.
history of the league.
Yeah, they decided to just call nothing. It's anarchy.
Prison rules, which is no rules. And also, the difference is if you get into a brawl like that in prison, they throw you in solitary. Like the Bruins were it was okay. It was fine. Oh my God, what a travesty. But no, Domi deserved to go to the box. It was a dumb penalty.
Then the Leafs get on a power play, but Shane Pinto again factors in. This time makes a great play around their defenseman.
I think of any player on the Sens, his stock has gone up the most in my mind. Like, there are guys who are probably playing better, but, like, I already knew they were good.
Like Brady.
Well, like Brady Tkachuk, but, like, you didn't have to pitch me on, like, where do you get a load of this Jake Sanderson?
Yeah.
Like, I know. Shane Pinto I didn't know was this good, and I'll throw Tyler Clevin in there as well.
So, and Tyler Clevin saved a goal later on. Not Jake Sanderson. Shane Pinto tips the puck around, gets on a breakaway with Anthony Stolarz. And it just kind of squeaks through.
Barely.
Squeaks through the 5-hole. Is that one that you wish the goalie had, or do you just
No,
go,
you're on the
it's
power
just a good
play.
play?
Like you're on the power play. That's on the PK, the power play unit.
Okay.
Like you can't be allowing a shorthanded breakaway.
If I'm not mistaken, that's the first. The Leafs have allowed 3 or 4 breakaways in this series, and he's stopped all of them except that one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you'd like a save? He'd like not a breakaway.
On the power play. And Adam, what's your favorite your least favorite phrase? Regression to the mean.
I hate it.
Yeah. Well, I think the power play was due to regress to the mean eventually because they were playing so hot and they go 0 for 4 in this game. We'll get to the power play in overtime, which was egregious. But like they have 4 chances in this game to score on the power play. They don't convert on any of them for a number of reasons, and they were cold last night.
I'd like
But overall, they're playing well in the power play.
of course. I'd like a panel of all goalies to be like, you'd like not a breakaway. You'd really, you know what? Sometimes you just need not a breakaway.
The panel was missing Kelly Rudy.
Yeah.
That was like an illness.
Listen,
you know?
there it is.
If he was there, he would have said it.
Honestly, if there was a goaltenders only podcast, it would be called "It's Everyone Else's Fault."
Oh, Adam. That's mean.
Whenever Rudy gets on and he talks about it, he's like, "Yeah, well, you'd like blah blah blah." It's like Kelly, you could save it.
Hey,
could
welcome
say-
to Blown Coverage with Don Beaupre or whatever. I don't know why Don Beaupre is the first name.
No, it's a good reference. Like, here's Ken Reggett and Don Beaupre.
Ken Reggett.
John Tavares gets set up beautifully for a tipping goal from William Nylander towards the end of the period. And it's my favorite thing. If it's a goal within the last minute of any period, goal against sucks. Goal 4, that's good.
It's like 1.25 goals.
It feels like it, right? It gives you a little momentum.
Yes, and you know what's funny? I don't think William Nylander had that great of a game. And
No, he did
had
not.
2 spectacular assists.
I thought he was pretty good.
Yeah.
I thought he was pretty good.
Well, once McMahon got on that line, I just don't think it's there with Holmberg. And I understand on the road, you have home ice in Game 5. Put McMahon up there, run them the frig over. I really do think there's the potential for that in Game 5.
I think for a large majority of this series, John Tavares has been the best player on the ice on
Yes.
like either side.
What?
And like that tip, like I don't
get
know
there.
what's more impressive, like the deceptive nature of William Nylander looking like he's throwing a floater past to
yeah.
the net, but then John Tavares backwards skating mid-air tip. Like what a spectacular play by the two of them.
He hasn't lost a damn step.
He and
No,
Nyes
not at all.
leading the team with 3 goals apiece.
Yeah.
Yep.
Which is pretty amazing. Now, midway through the second period, Matthew Nyes
breakaway.
Gets that crazy
You'd
breakaway
like not
goal.
a breakaway there. You know?
Why do you say that? Why make such a claim, Steve?
I know. I need a Craig Anderson podcast. You'd like not a breakaway there.
What though? I mean, what I was blown away by with Matt Nyes is like once he had the breakaway, I'm like, this is going in, and it felt like he felt like that. I know I'm putting what I thought on him, but it was sort of watching that. I'm like, oh, that's pretty confident. He knows what's going to happen here.
Elliot Friedman had a crazy stat, and like, so I got to see this behind the scenes at Sportsnet. Some of the people who do their stats are, I think, either wizards or aliens
Mutants
from space.
Yeah.
Nyes had, I think it was 3 breakaway goals since some date in February, and it was 3 different moves for each set.
Cool.
Like, how do you have that? That's awesome.
There are people that know.
That used to be a thing with like the Leafs in the shootout. They had a couple guys who were hot. Lupul was hot. Peter Holland was hot. And it was like, guys, do any of you read the notes? Like, you're millionaires. Like, they do the same move every time, and eventually they got found out. That means Nyes is just a Terminator at reading goalies. And it's, I am buying what he's selling. I want that jersey. I want him to be a Leaf forever. I want them to sign him to 12 years, and if Bettman charges you a fine, you pay it. Like, I don't care. Get that guy in a Leaf jersey until I am dead. Please.
I've seen some of those systems in work. What people who work within the league and have rights holders and access to all of these things, they have systems where it's like Matthew Nyes breakaway is something you can type in, and it'll be cataloged to like the 3 instances of Matthew Nyes' breakaway. So if you wanted to look that up, you could. It's an easy way to pull Viz like highlights and throw them into.
And I think there are certain people on Twitter who it's like, wow, where did you pull that out? And they have access to some of those systems, and it helps.
Okay, so the people who do that on Twitter, and you're like, wow, they catch everything, and they'll upload like, I don't know, 5, 6, 7, 8 clips per period. You should see what they have at TSN. Like, and I say TSN because I got access to that database when I was with NHL Network. I didn't work on that side of everything at Sportsnet. They clip everything. And then listening to Justin Bourne's book, because he was the video coach for the Marlies, the teams clip even more than that. So the broadcasters clip everything. The teams clip more than everything.
Oh, yeah. And all of it's like perfectly cataloged and everything, so it's easily findable in these instances.
Yeah, labeled and
the amount of information we have as a public is just nothing.
Nothing.
But one thing we do have is the NHL Edge data, and on that breakaway with Matthew Nyes, I think people should recognize that he's a fast guy. He doesn't have the speed burst to compete with everybody, but when he gets to his top speed, he's as fast as anybody. He sits in the 86th percentile at top skating speed in the NHL during these playoffs. But in terms of his speed bursts, over 32 kph, he is below 50th. So
he's not quick.
He doesn't have quick bursts, but when he gets up to that speed, he's as fast as anybody.
So if he works on that quickness this offseason, he's going to be... That's a crazy thing to have.
Yeah, and that's why the breakaway, I think, was so special, because he got a little headwind. Like, it wasn't just like kind of a standing still kind of start.
It was like watching the Olympics where there's a swimmer that just gets ahead.
Yeah.
You're like, he's widening that gap. That's crazy.
Now,
what a crazy pull.
Exactly.
Now, I'd love to know the context of it all, because very often what it'll end up being is something like Marner charges through the neutral zone, hands it off to Nyes, who's standing at the blue line. Nyes gains the zone, hands it off to Matthews, right?
Yeah.
But like Nyes doesn't need to be going, crazy agility on that move. You just hand
I'd like
it off.
if he did do that.
Anyway.
Like Alex Rodriguez in that Blue Jays game once. Remember where he was like, and he freaked out the third baseman. They dropped the ball.
Those were the playoff numbers. In the regular season, he's even higher in top skating speed, 89th percentile.
Wow.
And then speed bursts over 32 kilometers per hour, 74th percentile.
That's crazy.
So,
They're so good.
The only thing I'm
love this.
89th percentile in is head size.
Him?
No, me.
Oh.
me personally.
I think huge, dude.
Nyes has got to be at least
Do you think he's got
89th.
a melon like us, though? Because
Yeah,
I know it's like...
Nyes?
No.
Yeah, you think so? He's got
a big head.
He's got a big
does
head?
he?
Yeah.
I've never met him.
You should meet him.
He's got one of the bigger necks in the league.
Oh, yeah.
Not length, girth.
He would tower over you.
Yeah. Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
I kind of like that. I want to feel safe.
Yeah.
Is he
You would
one
be
of
like
those-
uppies?
Uppies?
You would-
How tall is he? How tall is he?
I don't know, like 6 something?
I do uppies with you. You should see me hug Jesse in real life.
Yeah.
It looks ridiculous.
Yeah, Jesse's like the giving tree when he gives us a hug. He just has to like get a bend over.
He friggin' what's that Patrick
guys have never read
Swayze
The Giving
movie
Tree,
with the
have you?
pottery? No.
Okay, that would have been a really good reference had either of you read it. I'm just throwing.
Well, Adam, I'm not 52.
yeah,
So sorry.
It's a kid's book, Steven.
Oh, is it? Okay, sorry. I know what you're
you know
talking
where
about.
he takes care of the bird?
Oh, yeah, no, I'm not 52.
Yeah. Anyway.
So, Jesse had to like plug something in, and he wrapped his arms around me before the show, like Patrick Swayze doing the pottery, and what is it, Ghost?
Yeah.
I don't know if I've ever seen that.
I've seen the clip, and that's what you did to me.
So next goal is in the third period. It's David Perron and Pontus Holmberg.
Wait. Noted
Alan Walsh client. David.
I
Perron.
wore this just for you, Alan. Frig off.
That's funny.
So Pontus Holmberg gets absolutely crushed in the offensive zone, and the Sens do a breakout. And really, at this point, the Leafs are pulling away in terms of defense. They really, I mean, you look at the shots in the first period when their Sens' first couple goals go in, it's like 6 or 7 shots.
Mm-hmm.
This is the third period, and they've got 13.
I think the Sens have been outplayed in 3 straight third periods, and they found a way to score in all of them.
For 40 minutes, the Sens got 4 shots on goal.
Yep. Again.
They got
again.
Like, this is a common thing that happens every game. The Leafs go 15 minutes worth of game time every game where the Sens don't get a single shot on goal.
Yeah.
Like, they're playing fantastic hockey.
Yeah.
It's the little stuff that they need to clean up that'll cost them a sweep.
Well, and this one looked exactly like the Tavares Nylander goal, only this time it was Artem Zub and David Perron. Perron got the backhand away, and then he swung around. It comes out to Zub. Zub passes it. Slides it right in. It's a great goal.
Really good play, and it would be the last time Artem Zub factored into anything in this game. I'm sure.
That's right. Yeah. Now, the guy that I agree with you, I don't think he had the best game, but had some unbelievable
I'm joking
assists.
about the overtime.
I'm talking about Willie. Did not have the greatest game, I don't think.
Yeah, but you can't keep saying that and then saying the great stuff he did.
Sure I can.
I feel like
yes, I can.
I feel like whatever you think
I can and I will.
made up for it in these great plays.
There were a lot of shifts where I'm like, come on, Willie, come on. You have more to give.
Mm-hmm.
And then he makes 2 of the nicest plays of the game.
And it starts with John Tavares, this goal.
It is, You take the good with the bad. It's all right.
You start with John Tavares doing what? What's he do?
Oh.
What's he do, Steve?
Well, Adam, I'm saving my voice.
Okay.
Because I don't know if you can hear
Then you can whisper it.
He goes to the net.
He drives the net with the puck. And they're unable to knock him off this. He's been such a factor in this series. Puck goes back out to the defense. Willie's along the sideboards, and you can see OEL sneaking in, and boom, back of the net. Oliver Ekman-Larsson has 2 goals in 4 games. I don't think that happened at all during the regular season.
Did he have 2 goals all season?
I will look that up. I'm looking it up right now.
He might have had 4? I'm serious. Like,
he
the
had
Leafs,
6.
When? The Leafs D-Corps did
Oh, wait. No,
not.
I'm lying. I'm lying to you. No.
Oh.
He had 4 this year.
Okay, there you go.
The Leafs D-Corps did not score goals this year.
No.
And they have 5 goals through 4 games. It's a big reason why they're leading 3.
OEL and Riley.
Riley has 2.
Oh, and
OEL has 2. Benoit has 1.
Yeah. So clutch goal, crazy game, or crazy play. And then the game sort of ends. It was interesting. I thought that at the end of the third period, Berube's got like the 3rd or the 4th line. I think like it was like Lawton and Yarncroke who were out there for the
That line was so good.
I think he got a little too cute in
Berube?
in game 4. Yeah.
What? Okay, tell us about that.
So if you look at the time on ice at 5-on-5, Scott Lawton played more than William Nylander.
That's
what, 5-on-5?
At 5-on-5.
Yeah, you can't have that.
There's a reason for that, there's a bit of power play time in there, and Willie's not getting out there. But like in terms of the time on ice allotment, I don't think that's how it should be working, especially in the playoffs. William Nylander, I think if you're playing him more, the better he's going to be. He likes being out there. He likes skating a whole bunch with the puck. So I don't know if that's the best use of that line. He used them the second most. Jonas Siegel had it in his article. This outside the first line, that Lawton-Lorentz line played the second most amount of minutes.
They had a very good game.
They did have a good game, but he kept using them.
Yeah, and what's their finish ability going to be?
And I
when you're
feel like
Yeah,
if this is an important game where you're trying to close out the series, you shouldn't be relying on Lawton and Lorentz.
Especially when you don't have the
Lorentz
lead.
had such
Like,
a good chance to end it.
Go
too.
with the guys you're paying all the money to do the stuff, So I feel like he got a little bit too cute with the line combos there, and you just ride the horses.
Yeah, that's fair.
Now,
That's fair.
I want to talk about overtime. And overtime starts with Artem Zub and this hit on John Tavares. And on the broadcast, they said shoulder. It was not a shoulder. It was an elbow.
Well,
and it was to the head.
I don't care what body part it was. It was directly to the head.
No penalty. And I sent the screen grabs to you, Jesse. No penalty.
Can I say something that's just going to get me absolutely set on fire online?
Yeah.
This was worse than what Tkachuk did to Gensel.
Well, and by the way, as of this morning, there will be no hearing about that.
I know. This was worse.
Well, there'll be no hearing about this then.
I know there won't be.
Is it anything like what Hagel and Barkov?
No, it wasn't as bad as that.
Okay.
It was still bad. I mean, Hagel's timing was off. This is just beaning a guy in the head. And there's no puck. I don't often say this, make a proclamation quite like this. If John Tavares is standing on his feet,
because the puck went right by him.
We're here this morning talking about the series being over.
Because the puck went right by him.
Series is over. Allmark's not stopping it. It's done. Goodbye. Bye, everyone. Brooms. But if ifs and buts were candy and nuts, and Tavares had to go off, I think, for the concussion spotter.
He did.
And he misses the whole 4-minute power play.
So what's interesting about that, there's no penalty. There's going to be probably no hearing about it today.
Maybe a fine.
And yet,
I think you'll get a fine.
You think you'll get a fine?
Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe.
I think then we'll all move on.
Tavares then misses this power play. Have a look at this. We throw it.
I don't have anything up.
Oh, it didn't. Oh, you don't?
No,
Okay.
I'm waiting for the computer to load.
Oh, computer's not loading?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, it then leads to the Leafs getting later on a penalty that the Sens actually really deserved, which was a power play. So Chris Tanev gets high sticked in the face, and it's like it was crazy. It was like they deadlifted his nose. It was just like the stick just goes and he's bleeding, right? Like it's intense.
Oh yeah.
Drake Batherson was in a fight with him in the corner and fighting for the puck, and the stick rode up, and that's what happens.
I do gotta hand it to Drake Batherson. Usually when a penalty like that happens in overtime, they scream bloody murder, like just out of pure panic.
Yeah.
Just begging for your life, basically. He knows the season's on the line, and he just took it. He just went to the box and was like, welp, hope they don't score. And the Leafs had 6 shots on goal. People are going to talk about the power play letting them down. There's no John Tavares. I know it's Morgan Riley. He's pretty good, too.
I have to tell you, I thought he stunk on that power play.
They got 6 shots.
I know, but I don't.
Scoring chances. They hit the post.
I get it, but I don't. I get why they do 5 forwards.
Me too. Listen,
because every time Morgan Riley has the puck, you don't even have to cover him. Well, he's not going to shoot.
Who do you put out there? There's no John
Bobby
Tavares.
McMahon.
What?
You put Bobby McMahon. You go stand in front of the net. Go stand in Tavares' spot.
I don't think so.
Really?
I disagree.
Oh, you guys are. I think you're wrong. This guy had 20 goals this year.
I think the correct answer is OEL. If you wanted a defenseman out there, but I didn't mind Morgan Riley at all in that power play.
Oh,
I thought they were a little they got their chances, but I feel like you got to finish those.
Well,
I feel
they could have used a real good finisher in front,
right? Like,
do you know any of those?
Like John Tavares is a good excuse for not finishing, but I feel like you still got to finish.
Man, it would have been nice to have a Tavares goal in overtime to finish a series. Tradition. But anyway,
I'm telling you, Zub doesn't hit him, and he's standing up. Series is done. And that's what we're talking about today. But again, ifs and buts.
So you guys think this will be at least some sort of fine?
I think it ought to. I mean, okay, what Artem Zub did to John Tavares was slightly worse than what Nick Cousins did to Anthony Stolarz.
Look.
Come on. And it doesn't need to be malicious intent, but where can anyone find the puck? I think it's where Allmark is looking, which is not at John Tavares.
Yeah.
It's not on the screen. Yeah. Oh man, he gets him right in the jaw.
At the very least, it's interference.
Yes.
2 minutes for interference.
And the refs are all right there. They all see it.
I don't know if they saw it or not, because I think they'd call interference if they did. But either way, they didn't do their job well. If they saw it or they didn't see it, you screwed up, because whether it's to the head or not, I don't care about those semantics. Give them 2 minutes for interference.
Can we get the Maddie mic? Because the Mad Dog wants to chime in.
What's up, dog?
Steve said this a while ago about the Darnell Nurse hit. And what are you doing?
Bring your mic up.
My mic is up. I'm talking.
No, like closer to your face.
Closer to my face.
There
Like
you
that.
go.
Oh, wow. That is a difference. No, I was just saying, like, it's like you say, Steve. He looks like a night owl here.
A night owl?
The owl.
Oh, God.
The way his head
you're
is.
Right. Yeah, it's completely.
You remember he said that a while ago? Like the owl look?
I forgot about that. Yeah,
Snaps
dude,
his neck to the sun.
Yeah.
Nurse missing as little time as he did. Did he miss any time? Maybe
Yeah,
a couple
he
games.
missed a couple games.
Yeah.
Like, dude, I thought.
It reminds me of that. That's why I just wanted to
Yeah,
say you're saying, yeah.
Thank you for bringing that up. I
Yeah.
forgot about that.
His head flips around.
It's
dude.
funny on account of he's fine. Like Nurse, I mean. Tavares, like Nylander and Berube are like, he's fine. He'll play game 5. And I'm like,
Well, he played that game.
thanks, Doc. But like
Like he was in the game.
someone was like, what if John Tavares has his Paul Correa moment and wins this game?
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, okay, it's 2025. I think we need to stop glorifying that moment. Like that was
I don't remember that.
It's where he basically got decked by Suter, was it? And
no Scott Stevens.
Oh, it was Stevens, because there was another one where Suter decked him, but he was out for a while after that. Yeah, Scott Stevens, and then he came back in and he scored, and he said in interviews since that he doesn't remember.
it
gosh,
wrecked
yeah,
it
no.
wrecked his career.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Like he kept playing for years after that, but he was never the same.
No, that's awful. What
Yeah.
the hell are we doing?
Yeah, well, that's why we don't want to glorify that moment. It's
No.
not a great moment. But I look at this and I go, okay, fine. Leafs get the 4-minute penalty. Sens kill it off, and that gives them a boost, right? It gives anybody a boost. The goal that goes in is, to me, just a full credit to Jake Sanderson for the extra effort. He could have.
It's a dart.
He could have let that puck just go offside, circled back, tried to break,
close.
but he would not let it happen. It's that extra effort, that extra reach, and then he just flutters it on the net.
I
and
think
Stollers does not see that.
no, I think Carlo took his eyes away. You still, I know we made fun of the saying, but you would like a save there. Mm-hmm. But it's a perfect shot and he doesn't see it. It's a bad combo. And so we move on to game 5.
Yeah, exactly.
Leafs were the better team overtime. They were the better team third period. They erased a 2-0 deficit. The Sens, once again, couldn't hold on to a lead for more than 7 minutes.
Yep.
You should win this game. You should win game 5.
There was something that happened on that OT goal by Sanderson that I noticed also. Well, the broadcast pointed out on the Perron goal when Zub assisted on it, and then I saw the similar thing happened with the Sanderson goal in OT, and that's the player coming off of the bench. No Leaf noticing him and him having a direct effect on the play. So, Matt, if you want to bring up the NHL Edge.
That's full credit to
breakdown there.
Travis Green, who I thought had a pretty good game.
So on the Perron goal, you see number 2, who's not on the ice right now. He comes off the bench there. You see number 2 come off the bench. And then eventually the puck works around the back of the net. And number 2, Artem Zub, gets the puck in the middle of the slot. And no Leaf notices him. And he leads directly to a pass to Perron, who then scores. Nobody covered Zub coming off the bench. And with the Jake Sanderson goal, he scores from coming off of the bench. So we have the puck entering the zone there, and Sanderson's making the line change. You see number 85's not on the ice, and then he then comes on the ice, and what does he do? He goes to the empty area. No Leaf is noticing him. They're all looking towards the puck, and he takes advantage of coming right off the bench, goes to the puck, shoots it on net, and scores.
And that is 74's man. You got to be higher than that.
I don't know who's supposed to cover him at that time, but there's 2 specific instances of guys coming off the bench having a direct effect on the play and them scoring against the Leafs. So clean that up a little, Toronto.
I've had the pleasure of explaining hockey from scratch to several people. Like, you ever get that opportunity? Someone who's like, I don't know anything about hockey. Like, tell me about it.
Yeah.
And but they watch other sports, and the thing they understand the least about hockey is, they just change, like on the fly. You can't do that in soccer. You can't do that in basketball. You can't do that in football. You can't do that in... What else can you do it in? Like, I don't even know if you can do it in lacrosse.
I think
have no
lacrosse
idea.
you do.
Yeah, probably.
Lacrosse?
Yeah.
Lacrosse. Yeah.
There we go. Like, we have a member of the studio audience today, and they're like, lacrosse, yes. Thank you, Christian. It's... Like, I'm not being Travis Green about this, but, like, there were 7 players on the ice. And like, no. I'm not saying it's too many men. It's not.
Okay.
It's not.
Yeah.
It's not.
Yeah.
It's not too many men. It's not too many men. let's all friggin' relax.
No, cope a little harder.
But no, it's not too many men. But if you show that to someone from scratch, they're going to be like, what?
Yeah.
They cheated. What?
No, line changes are fluid. Like,
Yes, they're very fluid and somewhat loose, especially in 3-on-3 overtime in the regular season. They're just like, I don't know. Figure it's just a line change contest sometimes. Listen, Travis Green had a really good night.
Yes.
So
yes, he did.
The line changes were on point, got them 2 goals. You have home ice advantage, so you target the Leafs' weak link, which is that third line. Ate them up, ate them for breakfast, won the game.
Yeah.
Good job.
When I played rec league basketball, like a decade ago, it's 20 minutes. I think it was 2 halves or 15 minutes, 2 halves, and the clock doesn't stop. So all of your changes have to be made on the fly, like hockey.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
That's kind of
It
neat.
was pretty fun.
That would be
makes
fun.
Yeah. No, it works in like very adult league basketball, a very low level basketball.
Wow.
The lowest you can get. It's fun.
And what are we
But-
doing here, basketball?
Yeah, and like
All right, get out
we're
there,
all
get
just
out.
out there trying to get cardio on
Yeah.
a Sunday.
Yeah,
like that's
yeah.
the purpose of the basketball.
Yeah. If we got to wait for a whistle every time, guys are going to drop dead on the hardwood.
Yeah,
Like, let's-
It's just like
get outta
go, run
here.
to the bench, get somebody out there.
Yeah.
So
With that, the Toronto Maple Leafs lose. The Ottawa Senators win. Game 5, Tuesday night in Toronto. Steve will be doing the watch along. Jesse and I will be doing the pre-show. It's going to be a good time. Okay? So stay calm. Is that the message?
Keep cool, my babies.
All right. Let's do the BetMGM big story. So now that we know that the odds are seemingly never in the Leafs' favor to close out a game, 1 for 12 in their Matthews, Marner, Nylander era. Which game would you bet on the Leafs to close out this series? Because they are coming back home. They do have a 3-1 lead. Their home and away splits. I mean, the home they were amazing at home this year.
Yep.
They're 2-0 at home in the playoffs already this year.
I'd give them game 5.
So you put $2 on the Leafs. Game 5.
$2, Steve. Game 5.
Confidently.
Yep. They're going to rejig the lines a little bit, and I think the top 6 is going to be overpowered, and I think the Leafs win it.
Jesse.
it says, according to BetMGM, 86% of people have the money line bet on the Toronto Maple Leafs.
Wow.
Steve, is that a bad omen or a good omen?
I think they love the Leafs probably. But listen, Toronto bets on Toronto in everything, which is weird because of how Toronto sports fans talk about Toronto sports.
So they bet with their hearts. Now, but the one thing I'll say, though, if you are going to take that bet, is if you look at the top scorers for the Toronto Maple Leafs, it's the core four.
Oh, yeah.
And Matthew Nice.
Oh, yeah.
And Simone Benoit.
And Simone, cannot forget Simone Benoit. I mean, like, you look at the guys who are actually scoring for the team. Mitch Marner leads the team with 7.
Oh, yeah.
Nylander's got 6. Tavares has 5. Matthews has 5. And Nyes has 3, but they're all goals. I mean, this is a team that, hey, we need our big guys to score, and they are. That's gotta be good, right?
I think the big guys are going to have a good night. I think they get a power play goal. I think they get a depth goal. They're going to be fine.
Jesse, would you do this? And you took the Leafs in 6, right?
No, I didn't. I took Leafs in 5.
You said Leafs in 5. Steve said
I
Leafs in
said 6.
Yeah, Steve said 6. I said 5. So what's the next game? What is that?
Game
I
5.
think it's
Jesse.
numero 5.
I don't speak French. I'm sorry.
That was Italian.
Oh, okay. And Leafs in 5. Like, I'm sticking with it. That's what I predicted. I think they win the next game.
All right, here we go.
Yeah.
All right, that's your BetMGM big story. Leafs 1 for 12 in closeout games, but 87% of people are still taking them anyway. For game 86.
Calm down.
Sorry.
Settle down.
At BetMGM.
These numbers thing. It's not your forte.
No, it isn't. But we all knew that. BetMGM.com/dangle for terms and conditions. Check it all out. Hey, you want to clean your car, but you want to clean it as a proud Canadian. Are you guys kissing the silver wax
The bottles are
the way they
kissing.
are, yeah.
There was a little bit of will they, won't they? And
I
now
have
they're
the
necking.
interior protector, which will protect your interior.
Shocking.
It's anti-static, has UV protection, and is non-greasy. Dry to touch as well.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, because usually when
Non-greasy? Can I use it on myself?
I don't know if it'll help that.
Yeah, I don't know if
For
it's a good
cars.
face cleaner.
Oh, for
Cars,
got it.
boats, and RVs.
Are you any of those?
A boat or an RV?
Yeah.
Depends who you ask.
Okay. And what do you have?
I have ceramic lotus effects.
So after you clean your car, after it's all clean, you throw that on, you wipe it with your microfiber cloth, and it makes it look real cool.
Check out the big brain on Jesse.
Yeah, Steve would be like, how about I start with this?
I use this stuff. Like, Silver Wax is amazing.
It is great. Nano Diamond Ceramic Quick Wax for $29.99 and Insect Remover for those RVs and those boats that have been sitting all winter. All available right now. Silver Wax takes absolute care of your car. Find Silver Wax products at your local Canadian Tire or silverwax.ca and use this promo code because it'll get you 10% off. And the promo code is SDPN10 at silverwax.ca. 10% off your next order. SDPN10 at silverwax.ca. So listen, when we last talked, the Florida Panthers and the Tampa Bay Lightning were in a position that nobody could have expected. The Florida Panthers rolled into Tampa and took 2 home games away from them.
Well,
which is nuts.
So I had Tampa winning that series, and people went, wait, you took Tampa over a healthy Florida Panthers team? And I'm just like, guys.
Nobody knew.
We didn't know that. Whoa, Kachuk's back. Yeah, how much of Kachuk?
Yeah, because he's playing like 13, 14 minutes.
Yeah, he's still not healthy.
Yeah.
And then but he did score 2 goals the first game, and I went, oh, I've made an error. So I could see why you might think that makes me look foolish.
Yesterday,
I could understand that.
Yesterday, absolutely emphatic victory for the Lightning against the Panthers. And 5-1 is no joke.
No.
And it seemed like they sort of had it. I mean, Matthew Tkachuk, again, scored right off the bat, and we're like, here we go.
Here we go.
But once the game started getting rolling, you could see the Lightning start to take over, and obviously they had those 3 big goals in the third period.
Yeah, that first period, watching that was all Florida. Like, Tampa, they got really lucky to come out of that first period tied 1-1. Vasilevsky made a couple big saves to keep them in it, and then Nick Paul scores like. I don't even think he was intending to go 5-hole on Bobrovsky, where it bounces off the inside of his skate, and that kind of opened the floodgates for Tampa.
It's sometimes those little things that happen. How do you think? And we'll save the hit for later. We'll talk about the hit. How do you think the Lightning did this? Because they really, I mean, obviously, varying degrees of close in the first 2 games, but. Everybody walked away from both those games going, well, the Panthers are clearly better.
Yeah, and that's just the wrong way to watch hockey.
Okay.
Like, that's not how... Like, imagine last year's Stanley Cup final. Imagine that's how you live your life and that's how you judge everything, and you're watching that series. Well, I mean, the Panthers are just clearly better. They're just running over the Oilers, and the Oilers have no chance. And then the Oilers kill them in Game 4, and you go, welp. That was just a one-off. And then the Oilers kill them again, and you go, oh. And then the Oilers force Game 7. But the team who was so much better won 3 straight games. But then these guys won 3 straight games, so they must be so much better. Like, just, guys. Yes, the Florida Panthers are the reigning champs. Yes, they loaded up. Yes, they got all their guys back. The Lightning are the Lightning. You're not sweeping them. Last year, they came perilously close. It was nuts. That, I think, was one of their more impressive accomplishments during last year's playoffs. I also don't think that Lightning team was nearly as good as this one. They have too much firepower to be shut down the way they've been. They went from getting shut out to scoring 5 goals on the road. I think rumors of the Lightning's death have been grossly exaggerated.
Yeah, and the Game 2 was a 1-0 game with an empty netter. Like, the only thing that was wrong for the Lightning in Game 2 is they couldn't score at all because the Panthers were playing smothering defense. They've been playing fantastic defense all series long in those Games 1 and 2. And Game 1 wasn't really close, I don't think, in any respect. But Game 2 could have gone either way if the Lightning were able to break through. And that's kind of the difference that happened in Game 3, where Florida starts out great. It's tied 1-1 because the Lightning are finally able to get a good goal from their top part of their lineup and Braden Point, who scores. And then that second period onwards, the Lightning took advantage of some sluggish play by the top pair of the Florida Panthers in Ekblad and Forsling, who were on the ice for 4 goals against that game.
Ekblad looked a little rusty.
And there's a guy who hasn't played in 20 games because he took steroids.
Yeah.
And he came back and he was rusty, and Forsling didn't have a good game either. Maybe it's because his partner wasn't very good, but that pair wasn't great, and they got eaten alive by the Lightning, who finally broke through with some goal scoring.
What did you think of the way? I want to start this by saying I like Aaron Ekblad a lot as a guy.
Okay, I've never met him.
I've met him a bunch of times. Great guy. Yeah. But what do you make of the way his return was talked about? Because people kept. All I was reading is that analysts were saying, well, he's in great shape, and this time off, it wasn't injury time off.
Were they being tongue in cheek?
No.
Sorry, I didn't hear anybody say he was.
I don't think they were. I think they were like, well, no, he's going to come back and he's going to be great because like he wasn't even injured.
Right.
And it's like, well, yeah. What was he out with? He was out for taking performance enhancing something or other. Yeah. I don't know exactly what it was. I just thought that was very, oh man, he's going to come back. Oh, great.
Yeah.
I bet great.
I feel like it's you can look at it in two different ways, right? You can say like he had all this time off. It's like he had a mini off season or a mini training camp even to just skate on his own time and get ready and exercise and be healthy. But he's also going to be rusty. So it's a matter of which way you want to look at his time off, but also acknowledge that his time off was, if they're saying it's not because of injuries, because he did something illegal.
Rusty, and he's had to pee clean for like 2 months.
Oh, you're implying that now that he's off the steroids, he's going to be a little worse.
You keep saying steroids. I don't know exactly what it was.
Sorry, no, that's an old way to talk about it. It's performance-enhancing drugs.
Yes.
Sorry.
Yeah, some sort of, well, like I'm not saying he's always been on it. Like let's take him at his word and it was an accident or whatever. Well, how long was that accident going on?
Right.
You know what I mean?
That's very interesting.
Like, man, this guy looks friggin' jacked. He looks like a friggin' thoroughbred horse. Well, and then he comes back, and yes, he wasn't injured, and yes, he's just working out the whole time, but he might not be getting out. He might not be getting the same returns from those workouts as he was getting before. Isn't it just logical to assume that?
I think it is fair because we don't know the details of anything, so I think it's okay to speculate on either end.
You don't need to think he's a bad guy or a cheater or whatever, but, I mean, you got busted for it. You got suspended 20 games, and it's not just all right, now I'm coming back, just Brock Lesnar juiced to the gills, fresh as a daisy, and I'm going to run over everybody, all 290 pounds of me.
Right.
That's not how it works.
And when you coming back in your first game back in months, and you're playing 20 minutes and 20 seconds,
that's a
the
lot.
Tampa Bay Lightning, that is a lot. Him and Forsling, like they're the guys they rely on for the shorthanded play, and he was out there for 6 minutes and 24 seconds of that 20 minutes shorthanded. That's a lot.
After. Like, there is a difference between gym shape and game shape.
100%.
And
I think you saw that a little bit with Pacioretty last night. Like, the timing's off.
I feel
right?
like that's fair too. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's fair of anybody, and it's difficult to adjust to that pace. I think we maybe should have seen a performance like this coming from him and from the team. I'm going to go out on a limb and say the Panthers don't lose by 4 on home ice next game. This series is about to tighten up.
Yeah. Now, I'm looking at the ice time. Is obviously they're working Matthew Tkachuk in, right? He had 11, he had 13, he had 16 last night. Is there any reason why you wouldn't put
You taking a hit of the spliff, or like what was it?
I burped.
Okay.
You could have just let it go, but now I'm
to.
telling you. Now I'm going to tell you.
I don't know, man.
It came up out of nowhere.
All right, fellas.
He was a national. He was a dash 4 last night. Could you have managed his minutes perhaps a little bit better at because him and Forsling did not have a great sort of game. Could you have brought it down a little bit?
No.
Can you warm Aaron Ekblad into the lineup the way you're doing with other guys?
Maybe that's the way you get him in.
Yeah, I think
just
Aaron
throw him into the
Ekblad,
fire?
as the series goes on, Aaron Ekblad will get better.
Now, the hit that everybody wants to talk about, and there will be no supplemental discipline or at least no hearing on one.
Yep.
So it could be a fine, I guess, was Matthew Tkachuk on Jake Guentzel. Now, this rivalry between the two of them dates back a ways, but obviously in game 1, Jake Guentzel was chirping at Matthew Tkachuk. Matthew Tkachuk obviously got the last laugh there. They've been going at each other all series, and on this particular play, Matthew Tkachuk does get a 5-minute penalty, and Jake Guentzel did So there's no. So what they're saying is, Jake Gensel did touch the puck. That's how it's different from the Hagel hit.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Matt Tkachuk's principal point of contact was not the head.
No, it was shoulder to chest.
Right. And he was given a 5-minute penalty, and the NHL usually doesn't suspend on a 5-minute penalty because it usually comes with the game misconduct.
So,
but the game was over. The game
And
was
he
well
didn't
over.
get a game misconduct.
No, he got 5
There
minutes.
was just exactly 5 minutes left on the clock, which
Yeah.
I thought was hilarious.
They also judged it based on, and this is a new one for me, force of hit.
is this the Friedman tweet?
Yeah. How do you measure force of hit?
Force. You know how you measure it? By the reaction of the player. All these guys, listen, there's always new innovations in hockey. For a while, the goalies were running the show. And because they started being able to bend themselves into a W and then a lowercase q into a capital Q. Like, they just got the greatest workouts. They did goalie-specific stuff. They look around the ice for different targets like absolute lunatics. And goalies ran the show for a long time.
Right.
Now, everyone shoots the puck like a laser because players got tired of all-time record low goal scoring. And this might be actually costing us money, and we don't like this. And you got Nathan McKinnon and his chickpea pasta. You got Nathan McKinnon and his boxing. Some guys do boxing. I remember Sean Thornton talking about doing jiu-jitsu or judo because it helped with his grip strength. So when you're in a fight with him and he's got you by the collar, he's got you by there until he decides not to. They're doing running. They're doing soccer. They're doing calisthenics. They're doing this. They're doing that. I got a new class for the off-season, acting class. Jake Gensel, it is a 5-1 game. That is an empty net goal. You should have learn how to ragdoll and lie there like you're dead. And I promise you it's a game. But you got right up and you had to say something because you're Jake Gensel and you're one of the biggest motor mouths in the entire NHL. And because of that, Tkachuk's going to get shit all.
The NHL waited, and Jesse and I talked about this on the pre-show yesterday. The NHL waited until late Friday to announce the Hagel suspension, right?
Yes.
And Drew, who
News
was running my stream, he was like, "Okay, tinfoil hat. They're waiting to see if Sasha Barkov can play."
And then he did play.
And then he did play. So then it's only one game.
I didn't believe that.
They do now. I agree with you, Jesse. I don't think that's probably what happened, but they do suspend based on outcome. Oftentimes,
They do.
even though they say that they don't.
I think because they take that outcome into something like this, a force of hit.
Am I wrong in saying waiting for the outcome in the Barkov situation is kind of valid? Like,
No.
like
You suspend the action. That's
you
what
suspend
should do.
the action, but like if you're Brandon Hagel, you know that's Barkov. If you're Matthew Tkachuk, you know that's Jake Gensel. So here's an idea I've had on and off for a few years. And I know it's never going to get adopted, and I'm wondering what we would have to do to get it adopted. So Tkachuk, 0 games. How do we feel about that? And Tampa fans go, boo, bullshit. Okay. Tkachuk, 1 game. How do we feel about that? And Panthers fans go, boo, bullshit. Okay. It's the end of a game. You were getting a piece of flesh, pound of flesh. Mm-hmm. You knew exactly what you were doing. It was a chicken shit play and a penalty during a game that is already done.
Yep.
You can't play the first period next game.
A first period suspension kind of thing, yeah.
Why not? Why not? It's like if you get a misconduct, which apparently he didn't in this case.
No, he did not.
No, it was a 5-minute. Yeah.
So maybe it doesn't apply in this case. So let's talk about, let's say he gets it. It should carry over. It's a playoff series and you knew what you were doing. It should carry over into the next game. Mm-hmm. A game is too much. Okay, fine. I agree. You shouldn't be able to play the first period.
Sorelli and Mikkola, who got into it right afterwards, both got 10-minute misconducts and were booted. Tkachuk, it was 15 minutes exactly to go, so they gave him a 5-minute
No,
penalty.
it's 5 minutes left on the clock.
Sorry, that's
15
what I mean.
minutes
Sorry,
in.
15 minutes into the third.
Yeah.
My bad.
I know
5 minutes
that
on the
always
clock.
trips me up.
So 5 minutes left means he's out of the game. But isn't it interesting? He doesn't get a misconduct, but Sorelli and Mikkola do. Not that it matters in the actual timing, but when you frame the how they look at it afterwards and the technicality of it. It is kind of funny.
So, like, maybe Cirelli and Mikkola aren't eligible to play the first 5 minutes or something like that of the next game. Like, I don't know. I just feel like there's something there. Tyler Dello, who is now the assistant general manager of the Carolina Hurricanes, back in his blogging days, he wrote about when the net is empty, there are no laws out there. Mm-hmm. And the NHL is, like, their priorities are so inconsistent and illogical and nonsensical. Nick Cousins got fined over $2,000. The Senators organization got fined $25,000 because he flicked a puck at a buddy pre-game. Because the NHL wants to cut down on the pre-game shenanigans. Matthew Tkachuk throws what he knows is an illegal hit in a game that he knows his team cannot win, in a scenario where he knows his team is about to get scored on. And what's the price for him to pay?
Nothing.
A 5-minute penalty at the end of the game, and he decided, you know what? Too good of a price to pay. You ever go shopping and you're like, you know what? I wasn't going to buy any shirts today, but $4, I can't afford to pass that up.
Yeah. How do you stop somebody from speeding when they can afford the fine?
Yeah.
Right?
Matthew Tkachuk can afford the fine in this situation. He's very happy to take the last 5 minutes off of a now 4-goal game where they're down. So he's happy to take that penalty.
Wasn't that a thing with Frankie Muniz, the guy from Malcolm in the Middle?
Who's now a professional race car driver?
Yeah, and he's a professional race car driver who used to get speeding tickets all the time and just went, fuck you, and paid them all. Whereas you get guys like Leo Komarov who go back to Finland and he gets pulled over for speeding and they fine you based on what you make.
Yes.
And so he got fined
$70,000.
It's a percentage of your salary.
He got fined like 3 times more than the Sens did for the Nick Cousins stuff.
I think on that play, the hit isn't as violent. It's not as illegal.
Not Brandon Hagel.
It's not as illegal as what Hagel did. Barkov never touched the puck. Hagel hit him partly in the head. It was a vicious hit. He got 1 game. But it's as illegal in different ways in that Tkachuk takes a swing back at center ice when he's ahead of the play and the puck is going towards the empty net. Yes. When he delivers that hit, Jake Guentzel passes the puck to Cirelli, who then scores on the empty net in that one play.
Yes.
If you are making the correct hockey play, you're going to try to guard your empty net. But in the instance where I think there's more than 2 seconds that pass there from Guentzel passing the puck to Cirelli, Matthew Tkachuk, video evidence, makes a U-turn and decides to hit Jake Guentzel. And I think in that case, it's such a targeted event that happens when the game is out of reach that the intent to injure is more obvious than the Hagel hit.
Jesse, he didn't hit his head, so how could he intend to injure?
People need to pay attention to the words they use.
Yeah.
Well, it's clean.
I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, it isn't. Like, it's clean because he didn't hit him in the head?
Right.
You idiots. It's interference. So what are you talking about?
I think you can say it's a clean hit in that he delivered a legal body check at an illegal time, which makes the play illegal, but you can say that the hit is clean. I differentiate that because there is a difference between what Hagel did to Barkov and Matthew Tkachuk's hit on Guentzel. So I'm calling Matthew Tkachuk's hit a clean hit, but at an illegal time
on an ineligible player.
Exactly. Which makes it so it's so semantics.
Yes.
But people love to get into the weeds of the semantics, which shouldn't matter at all because what he did, I think, was just not a hockey play.
Like if I'm a Sens fan this morning, I'm like, are you serious? Nick Cousins, like if I'm Michael Andlauer, I'm like, okay, so I'm a little new here. I'm $25,000 lighter.
Yeah.
What are they getting? Like,
Yeah.
I'm not saying the Panthers organization should be fined for that. Not every team should be fined for whatever happens in a game.
Well, the Senators
but Tkachuk is going to get nothing.
The Senators have a tight whistle with head office. There's no question.
Oh my God!
I don't know. Like, what did Michael Andlauer do to Gary?
All he did
Give
was
him billions of dollars.
Yeah, all he did
was
was pay more than he wanted to for the Senators, so Gary could
save
have him.
a franchise.
Yeah,
Oh my
literally.
gosh.
He didn't want to pay that much for the Senators. It was Gary that said, "Listen, we don't want any of these other ownership groups. We want you. Just make it. Just give me slide me another 50 mil, 100 mil. What's the big
Schmil.
deal? So
I don't
it'll
think
make,
we recorded since that fine actually came out, right?
well, we did the
No.
pre-show.
No,
we did
like
the pre-show,
an
but yeah,
STP,
no, not an
right?
STP.
Because I thought it was so weird that the organization is being punished for
I don't
something
understand that.
an individual did
Yeah, I
on
don't
the
get
ice.
that.
Because like when Hagel gets his suspension for a game hitting Barkov, the Tampa Bay Lightning aren't fined for that. But because the NHL says this happened outside of the play, the organization is then responsible. It's very odd.
So I can't believe I'm saying this, but I think the Sens are paying a Nick Cousins tax. Cousins has been fined for diving. He's been fined for embellishment, which happens very rarely, and you get 1 or 2 warnings before you're fined. If you get enough embellishment fines, the coach gets fined. And we just haven't seen an instance of it. And I think this is the Sens going, control your guy. Who
The
we
league going-
all-
the league going to the
Sorry. It's
Yeah.
the league going to the Sens saying, control your guy, who we don't like already. We already don't like this person. And, that's how it works. Like, I'm sorry, you can't tell me the league treats Evander Kane like every other player. Like, the Oilers were getting
and by the way-
investigated, and they also took a look at Gabriel Landeskog to make it not that obvious. They hate that guy.
well, but and listen, he's got a history.
I think
It's
I think
earned.
he's
It's
earned
earned.
that reputation.
Yeah, so has Cousins. So has
Sure.
Cousins.
But like you still in the eyes of the law,
there?
everyone's supposed to be looked at. All right, let's take a fresh lens at all this, and they can't put it aside because they do have their favorites and they have their least favorites, and Nick Cousins is among them. And I think so is Evander Kane. Where did we start?
We were talking about the Florida Tampa game.
Yeah.
And
Talking about
I think they
Hagel.
like the Kachucks. I mean,
They are good for the league. They're box office.
the Kachucks have made the NHL. Think of the inroads the Kachucks.
Hey, you guys made fun of me a couple years ago when Matthew Tkachuk was in the middle of the playoff run and he's in People magazine. You guys were like, what is this?
You were early on
I'm
that.
like, guys,
Yep.
I'm telling you, this is a start. Like,
You
that's
were-
a big deal.
You were early on
Steve,
that.
what do you think about Colin Campbell and his relationship to the Florida Panthers?
I think he is among the worst active things in the sport. I think his plaque should be chiseled out of the Hall of Fame. The fact he's in there is a disgrace. And his son is the AGM. The guy who got caught being corrupt.
Yeah.
About his son.
Over a decade ago, literally verbatim about his son.
And you could just Google the emails.
Google it. And they're real, they're authentic, they're from court documents. Yeah, no, I don't have faith that the NHL treats Colin Campbell's son's team the way they treat the 31 others.
Well, you know what, Steve? What do you base that on?
I base it on the court-confirmed corruption.
Yeah, but what
that
is
went
that?
unpunished.
All right.
Oh no, maybe it did go punished. Maybe he really, really didn't want to be in the Hockey Hall of Fame, and they put him in there anyway to teach him a lesson. Colin Campbell being in the Hall of Fame is shocking.
John Cooper and Paul Maurice are having a quote off, and that's great for the sport.
Can this series be a best of 13?
John Cooper, in response to
Please.
Kachuk's hit on Gensel, the only players we hit are the ones with the puck. And that is in response to Paul Maurice's quote after Hagel's hit on Barkov, where he said, the only players we hit are the ones that have puck, excuse me.
Which is, it's a great quote from Maurice, and it's a great quote from, I almost called him Torts, the opposite, Cooper.
You know what's interesting about both of them?
What?
They're liars.
Oh,
It's crazy.
any good coach is a dirty liar.
Dirty liars.
Here's John Cooper saying it post game.
It's so good.
It's so funny.
Any comments on that? Do you expect any repercussions from the league after what we just saw with Hagel?
The only players we hit are the ones with pucks. So.
It's great. It's great. I love these guys.
I love the both of them.
The way he delivered it so blankly,
Yeah.
like not even a smile,
No
not
smirk.
even a smirk. He just said it.
It's great.
Every single spring John Cooper goes, "It's John Cooper time." And it's so fun.
John Cooper just powers up like Michael Bublé at Christmas.
Oh,
Like,
and Paul Maurice goes, "It's Paul Maurice time." Yeah, Michael Bublé at Christmas. Don't you dare talk about my close personal friend Michael from BC.
I'm excited because if the Leafs make it to the next round, which I think they will do in game number 5, we either get Paul Maurice in Toronto or John Cooper in Toronto.
Oh, and they're both great.
So
They're
either
both
way,
great.
we're winning here.
Man, we got Maurice too young, too early.
Yeah.
Too
Hey,
early.
and also with bad goaltending. Now,
That too.
the clutch moment of the game is sponsored by Clutch.ca, the easiest way to sell your car. And we're going to jump out of the Toronto-Ottawa series because I think this one gave you the biggest emotional pop of the playoffs.
Yep.
And that is Gabriel Landeskog, who is playing in his second game in 1,000 days since they won their cup and scores a goal, and a good one, too.
A clapper. I loved it. And he just looks like he's playing with house money. You know what I mean?
Two knee surgeries, completely rebuilt man.
He was mic'd up and he gets into a scuffle and it was behind the net and he was just having the time of his life. I think no matter how far Colorado goes, he feels like the luckiest man on earth every time he gets on the ice, and it just radiates off him, and it's great to see him succeed.
Underrated on that whole play. If you haven't seen the full goal, Brock Nelson goes end to end, and it's not just like one end to the other. He comes from like around one side of the goal, comes all the way around the other side, goes the entire length of the ice, and then just hands it off to Landeskog. Like, credit Brock Nelson for a fantastic play, and I had no idea he was so fast.
There was a reason that I was hoping the Leafs would get Brock Nelson at the deadline.
Yeah.
He is
Man.
Little guy.
spectacular.
Great play.
Those two playing
Spectacular.
together, that's a long shift.
Now, Clutch is the fastest and easiest way to sell your car. You can get an instant offer in a minute on Clutch.ca. Schedule your sale easily online, drop it off to one of the many convenient locations, or if you prefer, you can just have it picked up from your home, which is pretty cool. Sell conveniently. You don't have to pretend to you know more than the used car salesman. You just go to Clutch.ca. This Clutch playoff moment is brought to you by Clutch. Whether you are just curious about what your car is worth, or you're ready to sell it right now. You're selling your Mazda to get a new Mazda.
Oh, there you go.
Go to Clutch.ca or use the QR code and get a real offer on your car in a minute. Tim's new retrospective rookie hockey cards are, they're awesome. They might make you feel a little bit old, though. Because you go, oh, that player's been in that long? I remember when they were drafted, and I graduated high school the same year they did, and oh, no.
That's happening more and more often. And
Steve, you didn't even know you did this. You handed me the William Nylander card.
all right,
Drafted
let's
in
go.
2016 was his rookie year. He looks like a little baby.
Oh my gosh, he is a little.
Yeah.
He wore the old Leaf jersey, which I totally have wiped.
Like,
from my
not
memory.
even the previous one, the one before that.
Yeah.
You know, like
Oh
the
my
really
gosh.
old one. Wow.
The FNUF one. I got Andrei Vasilevsky initial strides that I dropped and picked up again. Vasilevsky's debut saw him make 23 saves en route to backstopping the Lightning to a 3-1 road win over the Flyers December 16th, 2014. I was so ready for that to be against the Leafs. I'm glad it wasn't.
I'm so glad that you gave me this card. This is strong in the Leafs neighborhood. Nazem Kadri retrospective rookie. This one's awesome because it's got him as like a little baby. Remember when they said he can't play in the NHL because he doesn't play defense? And now he's considered one of the better defensive centermen in the NHL. That was the thing. That was the knock on him in the Marlies.
Kadri for Selke, baby.
That's right. He's been great. He's not in the playoffs this year. It's a shame. Maybe one day he makes a return to Toronto. But those are your Tim's retrospective rookie hockey cards. You can get those at any Tim Hortons, or you can download the Tim's app. Start collecting your new retrospective rookie cards. Every pack features current and retired NHL and PWHL players from their rookie year, plus the chance to win prizes like autographed jerseys. I want to talk about the Avs and the Stars game. Has there been a better emotional high in these playoffs than Gabriel Landeskog scoring his first goal?
No. And a great goal, too. Like, he scored with the Eagles in his AHL warm-up, but I think it, hit his knee, which is very ironic. That was a great damn goal, and the Avalanche kicked the Stars up and down the ice. That series is far, far, far from over. And I was, oh, boy, they're my cup pick. And every year, for some reason, my family keeps asking me to help them with their pool picks. They've never won.
What do you mean for some reason?
Well,
They asked the guy who works in hockey.
Yeah, but they keep losing.
You're
like,
surprised.
I've been part of that family for enough years now
That they should know better?
I'm not good at this. All right, but they were.
Oh my
I go, keep cool. It's the Avs. It's going to be a long series. That's very good for you. And sure enough, I actually just checked a text like a minute ago. My brother-in-law's in first place.
Yeah, all right.
Hey.
Buddy, that series I think is going 7. I don't think the Stars get their ass kicked quite like they did in Game 4, in Game 5 on home ice. I think this is going 7.
It was an absolute laser beam from Gabe.
Great shot.
Absolute laser beam. And it's great to see. You know what was cool to see? I forgot what the Avs C looked like.
Right?
Like, oh, yeah, because it's been 3 years since we've seen it.
1,041 days?
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, it's just
between goals.
It's spectacular, and obviously, they were just the better team. Nathan McKinnon has 4 goals in 4 games.
He's good, eh?
Mm-hmm.
I think I'm going to go out on a limb. Nathan McKinnon's good.
What we saw in that game was something I think we thought we'd see earlier in the series, and that Dallas has been playing phenomenal defense throughout the first 3 games.
Even without Heiskanen.
Without Heiskanen, we
Especially
thought that they would struggle defensively. But
Oh, yeah.
Ottinger's been fantastic, and I think he was fantastic in that game, like despite getting pulled and all that stuff. And I think he just got rest by the time he got pulled to the third there. I don't think there's big hoopla going about because he had great 1s through 3. And Dallas's defense really held up despite missing Heiskanen, despite having Labushkin out there, despite having Dumba out there. They were good defensively. And then finally in Game 4, we saw a game where rush chances were 24-4 for the Avs.
Wow.
Which is crazy. And we
Oh my
saw
God.
what we thought we'd get out of the Avs, where both teams were playing, I think, great defensively because the coaches, Bednar has been talking about this, DeBoer has been talking about it, how tight of a checking series this is. Like, there's no room for either team on the ice, except in Game 4. We saw the Avs open it up. So I wonder if they figured something out, whether scheme-wise or just the horses they have are able to tire out the legs that Dallas has, and everything's kind of catching up with Dallas. So this is a fascinating series, and this should be like a Western Conference final, the way it's being played out.
Oh,
and it's a shame that's a first-round matchup because this is so tight.
This is where I think Gary's argument about making the first round what it is falls apart because, obviously, in these series, there are some that are national headline series and some that are local headline series. And, this is a national headline series, right? There's so many storylines that I think people outside of their own fan groups are paying attention to it, right?
Yeah.
Whereas I think a series like, and no disrespect, Washington, Montreal, Blues, Jets, I don't think those are the national headline series. And I feel
They're
like
the hockey fan series.
they're the hockey fan
If you're
series.
a hockey fan, it's a big series to you. For everyone else, not really.
I feel like burning those out in the first round stinks. But I guess by virtue of the fact that there are less teams later, everything becomes a national headline series.
There's also been some really crappy conference final. In recent memory.
Yeah.
And having those lead into your Stanley Cup final kind of kills you. I mean, last year was Oilers-Panthers, which in years past would be ratings poison. But it's McDavid against Matthew Tkachuk.
Yeah. Right.
And those are, I guess, what I didn't grasp 2 years ago that Adam did is how big a name Matthew Tkachuk was.
Well, I don't think
obviously
nobody knew that. I mean, even then I was like, oh, like People Magazine, that's a fun little thing that'll happen only once, and then he's on like late night shows.
Well, he's this big personality and he's a pest and he's good, and I'm like, all right, he's Marchand, but we've never seen this kind of push behind Marchand. I
don't think Marchand has the personality that Tkachuk does, and I think Marchand's got a big personality, but
Tkachuk is American.
I also think
it
Tkachuk
matters.
revels in front of the camera.
That too, but Tkachuk is American, and I think that matters.
Well, so
with the Avs Stars.
That's what I'm bringing it back to.
No, it's just Steve went on a tangent about Tkachuk.
One of the things that I want to talk to you guys about is Jake Ottinger getting pulled for the third period. They are down 3-0. So okay, so
Maddie and I had a good discussion about
what
this
is
before the show.
for those that don't know, because obviously people were bringing up the Peter DeBoer, Alan Walsh sword thing. They're like, oh, Peter DeBoer starting a fight with his starting goaltender. What a shock!
No.
What really was going on there? Why take out Ottinger?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
They were sometimes. I think you gotta trust a coach to know his team better than anyone else. The Dallas Stars were not winning that game when Jake Ottinger got pulled.
Yep.
He was their best player. This is a goalie who's been injured, and I tell you what, he gets injured. I'm not sure there's a ton of point watching the rest of the series. And that's nothing against who even is their backup, Scott Wedgwood? Mm-hmm. No, it was Casey DeSmith. Scott Wedgwood's in Colorado now. Yeah, he's not Jake Ottinger, So they weren't winning that game. Get him a little extra rest. He'll come back for Game 5, and he'll probably be your best player again.
Yeah, and let me fact check myself. The scoring chances I was talking about, 24-4, according to National Hat Trick.
Wow.
That was only in the second period.
Whoa!
So it actually makes it worse. It actually makes it more obvious what happened there.
Yeah.
They were getting outplayed to smithereens for the first two periods.
What were the shots?
I think Peter DeBoer could see
smithereens.
it.
Hey.
Shots were 22-5 in that second period.
Just in the second.
In the second.
So what were they period by period?
12-11 Colorado in the first, 22-5 in the second, 14-7 in the third. And that's a game
all for
where
Colorado.
score effects, all for Colorado. Score effects should have that third period reversed at the very least.
Nope.
And I think Pete DeBoer saw what was happening in the game with his eyeballs, looking at the ice. And he said, I'm not going to leave Ottinger in there just to lose this game 7-0.
You got one mission in that third period if you're Dallas, and that's the lumber. You're not winning that game.
Yeah, no, you want to come out healthy.
Yep.
So
Yep.
I don't think there's any controversy.
No.
I think if people are doing what the Alan Walsh thing you said, Adam.
Yeah, the sword.
The sword to the
yeah,
back
I
of
think it was probably in jest.
Right,
Yeah, it was
right.
blurry.
He's doing
But
the goalie a
DeBoer was
favor.
the coach in Vegas when that happened, right?
Yeah, no,
He's doing
there's-
the goalie a favor.
There's no controversy.
Yeah.
No.
Give him 15 is pulled with 14 to go. Give him 14 minutes off. It's fine.
Let him breathe. I want to talk about some stuff that happened on Friday night because we went into Friday with 3 2-0 series and all the teams that were down 2-0-1.
Mm-hmm.
But I want to, Jesse, if you can pull up the thing I just sent you via text message. I want to pull up this specifically because I've been doing the Montreal-Washington series. And game 1, people tuned in because they were interested. And there was a great comeback at the end of the game. Montreal ties it, goes to overtime.
Yep.
Great. Game 2, the Habs, they score a goal. And that's it. And Washington wins the game as everybody thought.
I mean, the Caps ought to win this series, right?
They
should.
They should. Hey, the Caps have lost.
Yeah.
They've lost a game to the 8th seed.
Let's stop watching. Let's panic. Let's cry and poop our pants.
The Capitals and Canadiens game, I'll be honest with you, on Friday night, was pretty sleepy.
Until.
So we're getting ready to wrap for the intermission.
Yep.
And Drew is going to put the clip out. I was going to talk a little bit in intermission, and then Drew's going to put our, like an oh wow or a big dubs clip or something like that, right? Yep. And then all of a sudden, the cameras don't stop looking at the ice, and I'm like, why are none of the players skating off? None of the players are skating off. Okay, it looks like there's a tussle between a couple players. I'm sure the refs and linesmen will get in and break that up. And it turns out, a couple seconds later, Josh Anderson and Tom Wilson are on the bench fighting it out. And look at the linesman. I want to compliment the linesman. I know that's very off-brand for me, but I would like to compliment this linesman in particular because he's trying to break these two up, and he gets sucked into this fight like an undertow at the beach. His name is Kyle Flemington.
Oh, thank you for finding that.
And Kyle Flemington had to get in the middle of Tom Wilson and Josh Anderson. There's almost
on the
500 pounds of man between the two of these guys.
Do you think we could get Kyle on the show?
I would love to get. Well,
absolutely
at the
not.
end of the post,
Zero shot.
At the end of the post, you don't think we just
I don't
talk
think they
about
do.
this?
I don't think they're allowed to do interviews.
Oh,
I don't think they're. I would love to.
That would be fun.
God bless Greg Wyshynski, but he ruined that for everyone forever.
I don't know.
We don't.
So years ago, for those of you who don't know about this, I didn't know you didn't know about this.
I did not know. About
Okay, so this is great.
How many years ago?
10.
Okay, all right. We'll start there.
So,
all right, let's go.
So
10-minute sidebar.
Greg Wyshynski.
Maddie is laughing it up.
This is a good start. story.
Matthews
It's
is
a
playing
good
in
story.
Switzerland, and
No. Greg Wyshynski regularly, I think this is when he was still with Puck Daddy, called Tim Peel the worst ref in hockey.
oh,
God bless Greg Wyshynski for being a trailblazer and ahead of his time.
Oh, yeah.
Because Tim Peel sure as shit was. That dude stunk. And the NHL said, you stink, go home. We caught you stinking on mic. Go home.
Now we have an excuse.
And now he's got a podcast where he tells everyone, here are the many ways I've stunk over the years and still stink. So then they go out because Tim, I don't know why, decides, you know what? I'm going to give Gregor an interview.
Oh, no.
And
they went out for beers, didn't they?
I don't remember if it was scheduled or what, or if they just ran into each other, but they had drinks at a bar. They took pictures with each other, like with shot glasses.
This is
in
while
there.
he's still refereeing.
He is an active NHL ref.
Okay.
It was like 2014 or something like that. I don't know the exact year. And he gives an interview. And the NHL was none too pleased with Timothy about that interview. I don't remember what the repercussions were, but yeah, we're never hearing from these guys ever again.
Yeah.
No way.
Kyle Flemington, listen, you know how I am how I feel about linesmen, and there's been a lot of fake puck drops.
Yeah.
A lot.
Yeah.
Hayden and I have started keeping track of them through every game that we cover because in the playoffs, it's egregious.
Leaf Sens have had a ton.
But Kyle Flemington getting in the middle of 450 pounds of man on the bench.
He saved
Great
them
job.
thousands of dollars.
He did. He saved them both thousands of dollars. Now,
Thousands.
They have both been fined $5,000. They've both been warned. In fact, Renaud Lavoie of TVA said this morning on Twitter. The NHL told management of the Canadiens and the Capitals to be more careful during warm-ups, TV timeouts, and at the end of a period. League didn't like the incidents that happened during the last game. And
Why didn't they fine the teams?
Jesse asking the right questions.
Why didn't the Canadiens and Capitals, why didn't Ted Leonsis get fired?
How is how is this
fine.
remotely worse
Yeah.
than or
Cousins.
sorry, how isn't this worse than Cousins?
I'll tell you why. Because Ted Leonsis and who's the
Jeff Molson?
Jeff Molson have never got in front of a microphone and said, "Why am I inheriting this problem? I was told this was not going to be an issue."
Oh, so it doesn't have anything to do with precedent or the rules or anything?
It has
that's
everything to
happened.
do with Michael
Has to do with
Andlauer said
personality.
something bad against Gary publicly, indirectly, and he has paid for it ever since. And Sens
Ridiculous.
fans, I'm on your side on this one.
Yeah, I know.
And-
I feel like
Oh, yeah.
Leafs
Oh,
fans are upset at us for defending the Sens.
Yeah.
You know, but like we're trying to be objective with this, and the Sens should not have been fined.
No.
And it's gonna cause Andlauer to complain, which the NHL already expects. So keep going, keep
Yeah.
complaining. Precedent doesn't matter. Beatings will continue until morale improves. Welcome to the National Hockey League.
This fight starts, by the way, with Arbor Xhekaj and Tom Wilson going head to head a little bit, jawing at each other, and Anderson kind of swooped in. Now, what was happened later in the game that nobody is really talking about that I think is notable is the game's kind of out of reach.
Well, both teams lost their goalie.
But there is a linesman in between the two of them later on. We'll talk about the goalies in a second. Linesman in between the two of them later on, and they're just staring at each other.
Oh, yeah.
And it was like 5 seconds. They didn't say a word. They just stared, and then it looked like one of them said, "Okay, we're gonna have to resolve this," as in like we're going next game, because it didn't make sense to go that game, right? Wilson probably would have taken the fight. Anderson's like, "We're winning. Why would I fight you?" But I have a feeling that there might be some stuff happening tonight during the game. Just a feeling, just a thought, and I think it's going to be those two. And I do want to say, for the first time, guys, I saw the Montreal Canadiens stick up for themselves. They have let Cole Caulfield get bowled over like it's a train. He just gets, and the guy's 5'8", if maybe 5'8". He might be.
He did score.
He scored in a couple games,
But
Suzuki, Slafkovsky, and Cole Caulfield scored.
He might score a bit more if he didn't keep getting run over.
And Steve, I don't know if you remember the conversation we had on, I think it might have been the last show or might have been the one before.
A bit.
But we talked about how Laine wasn't playing well.
Yep.
And you threw out the suggestion of maybe throwing Xhekaj in there. And I poo-pooed it a little, and Adam did as well, because we thought, like, you're not going to sacrifice that level of skill to get him in that lineup, because obviously he's not as talented as the other players you can put in there. But the what he brings in this physicality side of the game is something they clearly need. And it was a spark. And you also mentioned, like, could Laine be injured? And that's the reason they scratched him. But I think, like, the level you were getting from Laine, whether he was injured or not, was not worth him having out there in that fourth line role. You might as well throw Jack-Eye out there so then he can do this.
And why are you leaving poor Ivan Demidov to play? No disrespect to Evans and Heineman, but that line didn't work between Newhook, who is Montreal's Alex Kerfoot, and Laine, who just either is injured or doesn't want to play, or both.
They don't have
and you're like, no, you know what? Let's take Demidov and give him less ice time.
They don't have a role for him right now.
Well, I think they do now with Laine out of the lineup. And Newhook scored, by the way. I will.
Yes,
give him
he
that.
did. Yes, well, Kerfoot got an OT winner as well.
But yeah, the Heineman, Kapanen, Armia line makes more sense.
Way more
Newhook,
sense.
Evans, Demidov makes more sense. And then you bring Jack-Eye in on defense and you throw him on your third pair. And then he's out there for instances where Tom Wilson's getting in people's faces.
Yep.
Everything kind of makes more sense with this lineup, and it's unfortunate because Laine should be in there in the top 6 scoring goals, but it's not how it's working right now, so you might as well go with this, and they look good Friday.
I got to tell you, Josh Anderson, Brendan Gallagher are like retro themselves.
Gallagher's turned back the clock.
They are looking really good.
Yeah.
And I know the goaltending thing is a big story today, so we'll update you on that in a second. But on the Capitals side, we were going through it. It's amazing when you look at the Washington Capitals over the last 2 years, the players they've collected from Lindgren to Mangiapane to Dubois to Chikrin to Sandin.
Yep.
All of these guys were either a problem, a cast-off, didn't work, need to be rebuilt, and they've built a roster on misfit toys, and they all look good. Mangiapane looks Calgary Mangiapane. He hasn't scored or as much as he probably
had a real good
wants to.
chance. I think it was in the third period. I obviously, like a lot of hockey fans, might not have watched the whole game, but I definitely watched the third.
But
after what happened.
But you know who impressed me the most?
Who?
And by the way, Connor McMichael was a cast-off too. Like, it was under Laviolette that he was not playing well, and now is like an unbelievable player.
In Washington.
Yeah.
I was like, where did they get him from?
He's like when he meant cast-off is like a guy that they rebuilt. I should have
former Ajax Pickering.
The guy that I have been blown away with, Anthony Beauvillier, has been awesome.
The misfittiest of the misfit toys.
Next to Dylan Strome, who has been awesome.
The misfittiest of misfit toys. Yep. They're a great mix of homegrown superstars, obviously, Alex Ovechkin, John Carlson, misfit toys, great free agent signings, great trades, and they've drafted so well. Mm-hmm. They're only going to get better.
Protas isn't even playing.
Protas isn't even playing, and neither is his brother. Like, I don't know if Ilya Protas has a contract with the Capitals. I think that kid could come in and help them now. He's that good.
He's coming out of the WHL, right?
No, OHL. The Windsor Spitfires. I think the Spits, pretty sure they're in the third round. It's hard to keep track.
So he might be in that lineup at some point.
I mean, it's unlikely, but I think he could play NHL games right now. I think he's going to be a really good player next season.
Are you going to give some credit to Kyle Dubas?
For trading them Anthony Beauvillier and Lars Eller?
For getting that second-round pick for Beauvillier? Because the year before, he was traded for a fifth-round pick. And then the Pittsburgh Penguins got a second for it. So the Pittsburgh Penguins did up Beauvillier's value through playing on their team, and they got a second.
I don't think any of us like that trade.
One thing I'll say is, first off, they're paying trade deadline prices. Fine, so that's a second round. Okay, yes, and I've always given credit to Kyle Dubas on his trades. Okay. I've always said he's a good trader. I've always said that. But sometimes he makes a trade for a guy, and you're like, "Hey, man, that you don't need this person, Erik Karlsson, who he's going to have to get rid of." They
get along great.
It's going real well.
It reads like a happy marriage.
You know what? Of course, I give him credit for that. Of course, and you know what else I also liked for them? The Connor Timmins, Connor Dewar pickup. He paid a fifth for two guys that are going to be useful players in his lineup next year.
Now, listen, I think I speak for all Caps fans. Screw the Pens.
Yeah, totally.
It was 2 straight years that Beauvillier was traded for 2024 fifth-round picks.
Wow.
and then this past trade deadline, Kyle Dubas is able to get a second-round pick for him.
Wow.
Now, is that a sign that good teams want him? He just keeps signing with bad ones?
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I don't think that means he's a bad player or a suitcase or whatever. Someone who did actually have a tough game for the Caps was Duane. I wonder if there is a roster decision to be made.
Yeah, he had the bad penalty and bad play, and I think
And followed it up with bad body language.
Yes.
Like, you can have a bad game, but I think some coaches will tell you don't let anyone know.
yeah.
He wore it.
So the other big story coming out of that series is both starting goalies came up with injuries, and what was crazy is that Logan Thompson's going to be a game time decision.
He was on the ice today.
And he was the one that could barely support his own weight leaving because he got crushed in the neck by Dylan Strome's stick and like in a torpedo Bobby Orr style, like flying into the net.
And then his skate, I think, was dug into the ice and his leg bent funny. I thought he was done for the playoffs for sure.
Me too. Montembeault, who was just tracking the puck and kind of came up, and you could see him kind of feeling a bit. That apparently is a more serious injury. He will be game time, but Caden Primo has been called up, and if Dobish goes, Caden Primo is going to be his back.
I thought Dobish was already announced the starter.
Was it announced? Okay, that's pregame, so I will find out for you.
And the Caps, I don't even know who their third goalie is. Is it Phoenix Copley? No, that's the Kings. Anyway, they used to have him. They haven't called up whoever it is. So I think they assume Logan Thompson's going to be at least good enough to back up.
Sorry, I had that wrong. Because Eric Engels tweeted that Dobish was doing the starters routine, but he's expecting Caden Prito to be backing. Eric Engels said he's expecting Caden Prito to be backing up Dobish for Game 4.
Okay.
There you go.
Peloton has what you need to achieve your fitness goals no matter what you got going on in your life. Now, listen, if you're going through a breakup, moving, new kid, getting married, all of those things, your fitness journey is a perfect spot for Peloton to kind of fit into, and it fits into your schedule wherever you need it. Now, Steve, I heard you referencing it during the watch-along last night where you're like, I gotta stay energized. I gotta stay in shape. These are long games. You almost did 4 periods of hockey just last night alone.
Man.
On the Peloton.
On the Peloton, but I got to keep it going. I got to do a little climb in there, and I just got to stay with it to achieve. What are you laughing at, Maddie? I just got to achieve.
You get to challenge yourself anywhere with Peloton's all-access membership. You can work out where you need to, like at home with your tread, outdoors on your runs, or take your favorite classes to the gym with the app. Find your push, find your power with Peloton at onePeloton.ca. In the Los Angeles-Edmonton series, the worst challenge of all time. It's just 4 or 5 minutes left in the game. Evander Kane scores. They
tie it.
They review it one time.
Yes.
For kicking the puck into net, but he kicked it to himself and then he shot it in.
Yep.
Then Jim Hiller, coach of the Los Angeles Kings, goes, you know what? Goaltender interference.
I gotta say, like we know this as Leaf fans because we rant about Jordan Bean and Sam Kim and the whole video review crew. That is a full staff failure, and it comes back.
Do they have people like
they must
Sam Kim and Jordan Bean?
Every team does.
Yeah, they must, and they have assistant coaches who talk to them, but it's ultimately Jim Hiller's call. Whoever made the call in the back, whoever was talking to them, whoever relayed the final call, and Jim Hiller makes the final call. It's probably the worst review I've ever seen. And it cost them the game.
And when they called it, you guys,
them the series.
What's crazy is the group chats went off, the tweets went off. Everybody to a person was like, what's he doing?
What is he doing?
Because they could still be in this.
Yep.
It's 4-4.
Yeah. It might have cost them the series.
So that was something you said on the pre-show yesterday. Please expand on that.
To think about in that moment, it's 4-4. You have an opportunity to go up 3-0 on the Edmonton Oilers. We know about 3-0 leads. They rarely get eclipsed. So in that moment, to have them immediately score on the power play, that's the reason.
Bouchard.
It's Evan Bouchard who makes a fantastic play.
Laser.
Like, and all credit to Evan Bouchard because that's what he is. He's a top 10 offensive defenseman in this league. Like he's
10,
top 5. I don't know whatever you want to say.
But I do want to say that Oilers fans have been in my DMs pretty pissed about how hard we've been on Bouchard. So it's good that we're giving him some compliments.
He's absolutely atrocious defensively. I won't back off it until he learns to bend. But offensively, he's top 5.
Jess?
Easily. We can hear from the man himself. Jim Hiller was asked about the challenge, obviously, post-game, and this is what...
Remember who the broadcast crew was for this game? But they were like, you know what? That's a sign that Jim Hiller has full faith in his penalty kill, and they allowed a goal 10 seconds in.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think, like he says in there, we didn't want to give him a power play, then you don't challenge it. If you don't want to give them the power play, you don't give that opportunity for Toronto to make that decision to then give
Toronto
the power play. It's not an appropriate challenge in that circumstance. Like, even if you're 90% sure, it's not 100.
Right.
And
You
that's
gotta be sure.
in that moment with so little time to go with the Edmonton Oilers with all of the momentum in the world, you can't give them that 10% chance that Toronto doesn't side with you, and you give them the power play, and look what happened. He cost them the game.
Oilers win this series. That's going to cost at least one person their job.
Somebody in the video room needs to go. Yeah.
It's just a real bad call. And again, I'm not letting Jim Hiller off the hook. He's the captain, right? He's the leader of that crew. He is the head coach. But he doesn't make that decision without being told this is probably a good idea.
That's the thing about being the head coach is you have to rely on the people underneath you.
Yes.
Yes.
He's not the one doing the microscopic film analysis in the back room. He's just trusting his guys, and they said do it. And yeah, somebody might not have a job if they lose.
I'm curious, guys, because everybody's like, well, now Edmonton's back in this series.
They are.
Guys, in their last 5 games, dating back to just the beginning of April this year, the the Kings have scored at minimum 3 goals on the Oilers in every one of those games, and that was only one time. The other time was 4, the other time was 5, and the other 2 were 6. And so it's the 5 and the 6 and the 6 are in the playoffs.
Yep.
I'm just curious, and Calvin Pickard, by the way, is getting the start today. Ryan Rishaug just
Why
confirmed
shouldn't
that.
he? Yeah.
I'm a little bit iffy on this. Oh, the Oilers are back in this. You're letting in an enormous amount of goals.
You're just not going to score that way every night if you're LA.
Do you remember what you said last episode that the Oilers, if they're trying to win, I was like, they can't win because they can't stop anything. And you were like, maybe they're just going to try and score 7 goals.
And they
did.
Yep.
And that's what they're kind of trying to do.
Yep.
Because I personally think LA is going to get as many goals as they want every single time out. I don't think Edmonton has shown anybody in this series that they have the ability to stop pucks, and they have to outscore their problems. And I don't think they can do it each game. So I think the Kings are eventually going to win this series because Edmonton can't stop a beach ball right now.
It's an insane series. LA had, what was it, a 4-0 lead in game 1. They blew it. Win anyway because the Oilers can't defend. And the Kings couldn't hold on to it because the Oilers are too OP when they're cheating for offense. Game 2, Kings are up 3-0. They almost blow it. They ended up pulling away. They made it 3-2.
Yeah, but that was late second they did that?
They made it 3-2. And then in this one, again, the Oilers have no recourse for stopping the LA Kings. But they can run them over if you give them the opportunity. Risking giving up a power play to the Oilers playing the way they were was one of the worst decisions I've ever seen from a challenge standpoint.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
I don't think the Oilers can outscore their problems in this series because I don't think that's how playoff hockey works. But the Edmonton Oilers have surprised us before. Maybe Pickard shows us something that he hasn't shown us before, where he makes more than just the couple saves that they needed in the last game where he did make those saves. Maybe makes more saves earlier, which would be nice. And the Edmonton Oilers just need to play better defense because
he got them through a tight spot against Vancouver last year. And I remember when they put Stuart Skinner back in, I was like, why? He's been so much better. And Stuart Skinner came back and was great.
Yeah.
Let me give you a scenario. This series goes 7.
Oh, that'd be great.
Oilers win it.
That'd be great.
Second round starts.
By the way, Kings would be 0-4 against the Oilers.
You have to blow up the entire roster.
Oh, no.
Ekholm comes back.
Oh!
And all of a
There's
sudden,
no stopping them.
The West is jump ball.
Who would they be playing, guys, if the Oilers got through?
Would it be the winner of Vegas,
the Vegas
Minnesota
series?
I think.
Yeah.
Oh, Edmonton, Vegas. Or Edmonton, Minnesota.
Yeah, they're on that side of the bracket, the Vegas, Minnesota one.
Producer Hayden, was rather cross about the officiating in Vegas, Minnesota.
Yeah.
He was upset.
Barbashev won it. So that series is tied 2-2. Another underrated series, and you can be forgiven if you haven't seen a game of it because the schedule is all over the place. I believe they're playing, is it 4 o'clock?
The first 4 games are all 4 different times.
Yeah.
I have no idea what time the game is today.
No, they play today? No, they played yesterday. What are you talking about?
They played yesterday. What am I talking
They play
about?
tomorrow.
Because I just said Barbashev won it in overtime.
Yeah,
I don't
they
know
played
why.
yesterday afternoon.
There's only one game?
No, there's not one game today.
Oh,
There's
sorry.
four.
I was looking at your screen.
Golden Knights play tomorrow night against the Wild at, a normal time, 9:30 Eastern.
That's normal-ish.
That's normal. A couple of things from around the league.
That's still 8:30 minutes.
They don't play tomorrow. They play Tuesday.
The Tuesday is what I meant. I have it here.
Adam,
Yeah, it's been 2 days. I don't know. I don't know, man.
Man.
I don't know. Couple
We'll get
of
it
things
right one day.
from around the league. David Carle, who is, if you've never heard of him, that's okay. He is the coach of the University of Denver's NCAA hockey team. They were in the Frozen Four last year. They lost in the semis this year to Western Michigan by like a goal. He's 37.
Wow. Oh, my God, I'm a failure.
And he said, no thanks, I don't want to coach Connor Bedard. The Chicago Blackhawks really pushed, and now he didn't say
He doesn't want to coach for the Blackhawks.
Doesn't want to coach for the Blackhawks. Now, I was talking about this a little bit on the pre-show with Jesse yesterday. This is not something that's unprecedented in NBA and NFL circles. There are plenty of coaches at the NCAA level who are like, I'm good, man. And if you see their salaries, you understand why. There's a lot of money in university sports.
The NFL is the perfect example where guys will even like try the NFL for a little bit and then go back to
Isn't
college.
one of the Harbaughs like that? Didn't he?
Yeah, Jim Harbaugh was a long time at Michigan, and then now he's back in the NFL.
With the Ravens?
LA for the Chargers.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
That's the Harbaugh I'm talking about.
David Carle is one of the weirdest hockey DB pages I've ever seen. He was drafted, first of all, he's 35 actually.
Oh, he's 35.
Oh my God, I'm such a failure. I've never seen a hockey DB page like this. He was drafted by the Tampa Bay Lightning in 2008. 7th round, 203rd overall. He does not have a single playing statistic. It's just coaching stats.
Right.
So I don't know what happened there, but he ended up coaching University of Denver this year. He had Zeev Buium. He had some really good players on that team. I
guess where I was going with this is I know that NCAA hockey salaries aren't anywhere close to NHL coaches, but that could be happening soon. You're seeing the NCAA, you're seeing the amount of players signing out of the NCAA going up, and the level of play is up, and the level of interest is up. And eventually, those universities make so much money that they're going to be able to retain coaches just based on salary alone. Is that the new trend? Are we going to start to see kind of akin what we've seen with the NFL and the NBA, which is there are some guys that are legendary college hockey coaches, and then there are some guys that make the transition and some guys that just never do?
I think this is a bizarrely smart move from him.
Okay. Tell me why.
I don't think he would succeed in Chicago.
Is that because of Chicago?
It's a little of column A and a little of column B. They need experience, which is what increasingly over the next 2 years, none of their players are going to have. They have a lot of draft picks who are going to pop off when they get to the league. They're not all going to show up right away, and they need someone who they believe in. Go look at who was their last coach before Luke Richardson, the young guy. I can't remember his name.
Oh, he was young. Oh, yeah.
He was younger than Carle was, I think.
What was his name? I can't remember, but I know exactly who you're talking about.
And they...
Derek King?
No, it wasn't
Jeremy
Derek King.
Colleton?
Jeremy Colleton, thank you. They eviscerated that poor man in that city. This guy is a bum. He doesn't know what he's doing. He's out of his depth. Fire him. Kyle Davidson, one of the youngest GMs in the NHL, might be the youngest.
I think he's our age.
This guy is a bum. This guy doesn't know what he's talking about, doesn't know what he's doing. He can't make a trade. His team sucks. I don't think he's what the Blackhawks need right now. And I think he's at least wise enough to read that. I think he could be a coach somewhere if he's this sought after. but situation matters, and I don't think it would work in Chicago.
He's also probably got a good thing going with the University of Denver. 2 times, right up there with the Frozen Four. Sometimes you just don't want to leave.
Don't screw with Happy.
I think this whole story is a lot simpler than everybody's making it out to be. The dude is 35 with a young family and has a happy life. I don't think he wants to uproot his life right now to go in the NHL and take that on. And I think the NHL job is waiting for him whenever he wants to make that move because he's only 35 and is still at a very good school, coaching a lot of good players, and will probably win a couple more championships or something, or at least be in contention a whole bunch of more years. And he's got like a decade to make this jump.
Oh yeah, he can come in as a 45-year-old and still be the youngest coach in the NHL.
Pretty young coach.
Yeah.
So I feel like he's just happy, and he doesn't need to take on the Chicago job at this moment in his life, and he can just wait.
And for everybody taking pot shots at Chicago, believe me, I get it.
Yeah,
We're not sure what's going on there, but
it's not necessary.
Tell me a head coach that's going to walk into a good situation in the NHL. Right.
You don't fire your head coach if things are going well.
Well, I mean, listen, there are
Jim
rumors,
Montgomery.
but there is going to be somebody who gets fired because they didn't get past the first round this year.
Right.
But on the whole, it's pretty rare. Right.
Yeah.
So maybe he could be waiting for that. Like, what if a team decides, like, Vegas is nuts? What if they decide to go crazy? Sorry, Bruce Cassidy, we're coming over to your living room and firing you in it.
I think you just delay this process for a couple of years. You make it so you become even more desirable, and somebody's willing to write you like the check that you can't refuse, no matter where you are in your life.
Yes.
David Carle's gonna one day probably get that check where he has to take it no matter what because it's so much, and then he'll make the jump. But right now, it's probably not enough. And it's not worth it for his time. I feel like it's very simple. It has nothing to do with the Blackhawks. And it has nothing to do with him as a coach or anything. It's just not ready for his time of life.
Alexander Nikishin, who is a Carolina Hurricanes defenseman officially as of yesterday, has finally had his contract registered with the NHL. Now, this is a big deal because he was playing with SKA St. Petersburg, and I'll get to his stats in a second. We talked about this on Friday. But this is a player that the Carolina Hurricanes signed a contract, and was flying over, and he's there, and the Carolina Hurricanes for 2 weeks decided we're not going to register this contract. Now, they're saying it's because he might have wanted to play for Chicago in the AHL playoffs. However, his agent in Russia said this,
which is not his NHL agent.
Right. He's got representation in Russia. He's got representation here.
Okay.
Carolina is behaving incomprehensibly, and not only for us, but for scouts and representatives of other NHL clubs. Basically saying nobody can understand why this
you're dumb, and everyone's talking about how you're dumb.
Everyone is shocked and outraged. But as I was told, this never surprises because Carolina always behaves like this with everyone. At the moment, we cannot comment on the situation, even though we did, because the club's actions defy common sense. If this continues, Alexander will either go back or ask for a trade. Now, compare and contrast that Russian quote, which is just passion, which I actually really like. His North American representation, a man named Ryan Barnes, said this: "We have been working with Carolina on Alexander's status. Our Russian partners are simply excited to see Alexander play for the Hurricanes, and so are we." Now that
They're simply excited,
and that came out about 5:00 on Friday. That
this
quote.
donkey organization has no idea. Oh, they're simply excited.
Eric Tulsky said yesterday. We had agreed with his agents to keep options open for Alex to potentially play a game with Chicago at some point, but with their season over, it makes sense to officially register an NHL contract for him, and we are excited about his future with the team. But so now this controversy will disappear. And I do want to remind you that this guy is awesome. 6'4", 216 pounds, dominated Russia, 157 points in 193 games as a defenseman in the KHL. Being a point-a-game player in the KHL is rare.
Yes.
This is unbelievable. And this guy is 23, and he's looking like he's ready to step in for the Canes right now. I do want to ask, though, how... we got the North American response, which is very North American. We got the Russian response, which was very Russian. I would assume the truth is somewhere in between. What's your, and I don't think that, I don't pretend that any of us have insider knowledge about what happened in Carolina. What's your sense of what happened here?
My sense is there's a lot more emotion in these situations than you ever hear about. And we just never hear about it. Agents keep it under wraps. GMs keep it under wraps. Players keep it under wraps. Russians don't give a damn about any of that. They really don't. Every year, someone in the spring steps up and says, it'll be me this time. And for this year, it's Alexander Nikishin. And this is a bit of a messy situation, but I think it's a lot more run-of-the-mill than you think.
Okay. So it's just this one played out publicly.
Yes.
Okay. Last one before we go to press conference here, very quick. John Bucci-Gross has joined John Shannon in saying that Joel Quenneville is now linked to the Anaheim Ducks.
Oh, wow.
And basically the reason Bucci-Gross basically just put a picture of Joel Quenneville up and then some baby ducks next to it. So it's pretty obvious what he meant.
That's Kevin Weeks' bit, and you stole it.
Might be a good landing spot for him considering the low media attention. Maybe I'm nuts, but I'm going to be the first one to say it. I think the Ducks are challenging for a playoff spot next year. I really do. I like that team a lot. Now,
can I throw it out there?
Frank Seravalli. Hold on, let me finish the story setup here.
Oh, okay.
Frank Seravalli did say he's a strong candidate, but it's still early in the process. Multiple interviews to come in Anaheim.
It is a very NHL thing. Very, very NHL thing. Who did Pat Verbeek play with in Hartford?
Joel Quenneville.
Joel Quenneville. Yes. So, yeah, one of the winningest NHL coaches of all time. Yeah. None of that matters. This is my friend. This is my buddy. That's why I'm hiring him. I think that's why they're linked. What I've found Joel Quenneville through the media since the Blackhawks situation happened, and he was with the Panthers, people forget. What a butterfly effect there. And he left the organization. The media campaign to get this guy back in the league has been so naked and obvious. And I think we're seeing that again. And I don't think this is as slam dunk as maybe they're making it seem.
Why do you say that?
Why doesn't he have a job yet? Since he left the Panthers.
Is he approved to have a job? Yeah.
Sorry?
Is he approved to have a job yet?
Oh, yeah.
So they've cleared him.
He was cleared, I want to say the same day as Sam Bowman. Mm-hmm. Bowman got hired very quickly.
Yeah.
Quenneville's still looking. Why?
Because the Oilers are silly.
Damn, I wasn't expecting that good of an answer. But wow. But also, and I've said this over and over again, people forget details about everything that happened there. I'm not certain Quenneville's ever going to coach in the NHL again. But if he does, I could see it being with the Ducks.
I think he's going to have a job in the next week.
Yeah, I could see it being with the Ducks.
And I think that maybe the only reason he doesn't is maybe he's waiting for different situations to play out.
Because
if you're Joel Quenneville, do you want to step into a horrible situation or do you want to step into a good one? I think the Ducks are a really good situation. I think the players on that team that needed to take a step forward this year,
better than the
Dostal, Cutter, Gauthier, all those guys all took big steps forward. You've got one of the best, and I'm going to say it, one of the best goaltending duos in the league.
Listen,
that's a good scenario for a guy.
This is not an endorsement of Joel Quenneville. It's just me saying I've heard like whispers from throughout the league, and none of them were complimentary of Greg Cronin.
Oh, no.
They were all real
terrible.
bad. Real bad.
Yeah.
So
that
think
part is obvious. Ducks fans will tell you that.
Whoever gets hired in Anaheim, all the players will consider you an upgrade, is the impression I got.
Yeah. All right, let's do the press conference, Jesse.
The Presser. SDP. The Steve Dangle Press Conference.
Welcome, boys who sat down watching
What's
the
up,
pod. Thank you for being here. We got some more info on the remote broadcasts that are taking place. So in Canada, Sportsnet has all of the rights to all of hockey, and they're not traveling to some of the series in the American markets. So they'll have there's a rebroadcast of the TNT or the ESPN feed up in Sportsnet, up in Canada. And then the way TNT is tackling these is they are calling these remote from their studio in Atlanta, as opposed to sending their talent there on the ground. They're relying on the talent that's there to the technicians that are there to send a clean broadcast feed back to them that they then show to the broadcasters who are back in the studio, who then call the game off of those monitors, and then they reproduce for the on-air audience watching. So we have remote broadcasts on both sides. One is them calling it and if in Atlanta, and the other one is just a reproduction of the TBS or a TNT or ESPN feeds. Rob Rossi in The Athletic wrote about this. The reason for TNT doing this, he writes, is fully covering a game on site, particularly in smaller Canadian cities, requires a significant financial investment, including the presence of a mobile production truck with technicians plus travel costs for on-air talent. Turner Sports' decision to not do so for some NHL playoff games has garnered online criticism. I'm going to skip ahead a little. A source said a combination of travel to Canadian cities and Turner Sports' heavy spring schedule were the primary reasons for the decisions to go with remote announced teams. All Turner Sports games beyond the first round are scheduled to be broadcast on site. So it's only a decision they made for the first round.
What sports?
Turner Sports. So
why is it called that?
Because it's TNT.
It's owned by
Turner.
Ted Turner.
Ted Turner doesn't have the money for this? Okay, that's cool, man. Anyway, continue.
Well, that's what we're going to end on.
Oh, yeah.
Just pay the money. The last thing I'll read from the article, it says Turner Sports' view, according to the source, is that outside of Toronto and Montreal, travel to some Canadian markets presents logistical challenges, especially given the volume of other games its networks broadcast for 3 North American leagues. So they also have rights to the NBA and so forth.
Ted Turner's worth $2.8 billion. Sorry.
Instead of deploying a production truck and a full crew to Winnipeg, Edmonton, and Ottawa, these are the 3 markets and series that are providing challenges, the company has partnered with Canada Sportsnet to assign 10 to 12 Canadian-based technicians to deliver a world feed for these games.
So, are they calling these games off a screen?
Yes, in Atlanta.
Can I ask a question? An arrogant one.
Yes.
What is the difference between what they do and what I do?
I don't think there is
much.
Only
and
you're not
Adam,
considered.
and Jesse.
Yeah. You're not considered at the NHL Network or TNT or Sportsnet or whatever. So like there will be some people who are like, well, you're not a main broadcaster. You don't have the rights.
Okay. Well, like we're
or me, right? Same thing. We all stream games.
Yeah.
We all do it.
We're this like startup, right?
Yeah.
Trying to make something of ourselves and pull us up by our bootstraps. TNT is broadcasting games the same way SDPN does.
Yeah. I think
have you bumped your head?
All this article keeps reiterating, and I think those points are very valid in that now we know the reasons why they're doing it, and the reasons are strictly money. And these companies have money. So that's not
billions.
A valid reason.
They spent billions on the rights because it was worth it to them to spend billions on the rights because they know you'll gobble up that slop any way they give it to you. Mm-hmm. If we're at the game or we're in a studio, there's no difference.
Yeah.
Num, little piggy. Gobble up the slop. We spent the money on the rights, but we decided that the people, the fans, the audience are not worth spending the money on, so we're not sending a crew. Beginning, middle, end. Butt naked.
And
That's what it
TNT is trying to maximize their profits for these games. So they say it's going to cost a little bit too much to send somebody to Ottawa, send somebody to Winnipeg, send somebody to Edmonton. So we're going to cut back on that so we can make more money on these.
Well, and also doesn't it go to show that they're looking at this, frankly, from that's a Canadian market and we don't make any money on half of those, right? Yeah. We make half the money. That's how they're looking at it because half of it's a Canadian market. Now, the other thing I'd say is, and this is, people have been asking me about this all week on my streams. And what I keep telling them is this is not Ted Turner's problem. This is not Turner Sports' problem. This is an NHL problem. When you sell, you know what's crazy is the commissioner has final say, in representing the owners.
In everything.
In everything. And one of the things that Gary Bettman is proudest of are his recent rights deals, which, there are some criticisms that Canadian one's too long.
And
you're leaving money on the table. There's but ultimately, largely, since ESPN and TNT have taken the games, say what you want about the panels on ESPN, and people have a lot to say. The reality of the situation is the NHL's better for it, right? No question, no contest. The league's been on the rise. Revenue's been on the rise.
Yeah.
It's super weird. that Gary didn't say to them, hey, I know you're handing over billions in this, but for the playoffs, part of the stipulation is if you're broadcasting the game, you're sending a crew.
The hockey is
it.
good.
That's all they had to put in there.
Hockey is the product, and the hockey is good, and they're letting hockey do all the heavy lifting.
Yeah.
I think part of what has given the NBA like such a leg up in recent years, maybe not so much last year and a half, 2 years, whatever, has been the broadcast around the games has been absolutely spectacular.
A lot of times it's what's carrying the product these days.
It's carried it. Hockey has to carry the product. There was
TNT's panel's great. Like Henrik Lundqvist is awesome.
Producer Drew sent me, it was Anson Carter, Paul Bissonnette, and Henrik Lundqvist talking about the Kachuk hit on Jake Gensel.
I watched it. It was great.
And it was good. It was good. You know what I mean? And I'm sitting there going, this is one of the best panel discussions I've seen in recent memory. And that's pathetic.
Well, I
it
think
is. And like maybe that's the wrong takeaway from something that is good. Why isn't that just every panel discussion should be good? What are you talking about? This is the show, man. The National Hockey League. Night after night, it's got to be a banger. We're the fans. We're the ones who pay to watch these games, and we're just begging broadcasters to have this mean as much to you as it means to us.
Yeah, we're rooting for you.
We want
you to be successful.
We
want you to be good.
For you. How dare you? Let me get my Tyra Banks wig on. Like, it's just unacceptable.
Yeah, nobody wants. It's like when you go to a concert. Like nobody wants the singer to do a bad job. Nobody wants the host to do a bad job.
Yeah, I want to pay like $200 to boo Lady Gaga.
Yeah.
Like, no.
Or I want to pay $200 a month to watch hockey, or whatever, $50. It'll be $200 a month pretty soon. Don't worry with that Rogers deal kicking in. But I have to tell you, like we people are crying out on both sides of the border for strong panels. And put the guys at the game. It's the playoffs, guys. But again, it comes down to the NHL. When they do these deals, goes, all I care about is the money, and that should be priority one. Mm-hmm. I agree with them. Priority two should be, how do we make the product better? How do I ensure that my partner in this, who I'm handing the rights over to for half a decade or a full decade, does right by my product? All the sources I've had have said that they're not happy with how the broadcasts have been done nationally in Canada.
Yeah, they're bad.
And yet, they go and they re-sign.
Has it ever occurred to them that putting out a good product might make them money?
That's the point, right? That's the point. So it's.
So you imagine.
I think this is an NHL problem. This is not a TNT problem.
Hey, what if we made good chocolate?
Yeah.
How is this hard? I don't get it.
Yep.
I don't get it. I mean, listen, I don't run a multi-billion-dollar company. Maybe I would also be a greedy, soul-sucking leech.
We had a question from Ferocity, because now we're at the Sport Check studios. They want to know, can SDPN give triangle rewards now?
Not as of yet.
We'll
Not
work on
yet?
that.
Okay.
We'll work on that.
Are we working on that?
We'll work on it.
Okay.
We'll work on
All
it.
right, so
we'll
maybe-
talk to, who's our guy?
Alex, the manager here?
Yeah, we'll talk to Alex.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe when you buy something from the SDPN shop, you get like 2 triangle rewards.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
2.
All right, and
2.
Steve, we'll finish on this because Peter is hoping to get your book in the UK.
Oh.
And he said he can't track it down in the UK. Is there anything you can help him out with? He said Amazon wants a 6-month lead time for your book.
God.
Yeah.
To the UK.
I don't remember it being that bad for my first book. I have no idea why it's so bad getting books to Europe. We could set it up on our shop. Mm-hmm. The problem is...
Then we're sending the books to Europe.
We're sending the books, and it takes a lot of time and effort on our end.
Yeah.
So rather than answering the question on the spot, let me think about it.
Okay.
Because I think I've gotten messages from a few people.
Maybe you talk to the publisher and see. But you know, the other thing is that it would add significantly to the cost of your book, because the cost to ship is crazy.
Oh my God. Well,
Right?
I think it'd be cheaper to ship to the UK than the East Coast of Canada.
Yeah, which is like $40 a book.
Because we sold it on our store for a while, and we just charged a flat fee, and we'd be like, all right, this is in Ontario, good. Ontario, good. States, for some reason, good. Halifax, no!
We would lose money,
lose money.
on the East Coast books, and we'd try and make up the missed profits from like the Ontario and the American books.
Yeah, like
And you know, the one thing you could say about books is that they are a high margin profitability thing, aren't they? You just
No.
make so much money off every book.
you do not.
You-
As someone who had literally one of the best-selling books in the country,
You're making
no,
sometimes an entire cent off each book. It's crazy.
man, they're
That's why you had to take the 3-on-3 Saudi money.
That's right.
Oh,
Hey,
books
that
weren't
helicopter ain't
bringing
gonna pay for itself.
100%. That's why I promoted that propaganda. No, so I, as an author, am able to buy books off the publisher for a certain price,
at cost.
and it's less.
Yeah.
So we got the first book into Costco, and I remember for the publisher, it was a really big deal. We got it into Costco, and then I went to Costco to see my book in Costco, and I was like, isn't this cool? I have a book in Costco. And I looked at the price, and I went, oh my God. I made maybe 60 cents. It was bad.
Yeah.
You don't make a ton of money off books, but that's not what it's all about.
That's not what it's about.
Not what it's all about.
We're not TNT.
I am not Ted Turner.
We're not TNT.
Hey, I'm
Trying
not
to
sending.
squeeze
We're
every
not sending you
profit.
books. We don't have that. There's a cost with that. We're not going to send you any books.
Yeah,
And the
you gotta-
announcers stay at home.
Yeah,
You
now
gotta
we
read
sound
it.
like them.
You got to read it through binoculars from like another, like just out your window.
We should figure out a way. Maybe you talk to your publisher after this. Maybe during the summer, I don't know. We can get some sort of thing where they get it out to the UK in a batch, and they're kind of available over there.
Yeah. Well,
We'll discuss.
yeah, that's I'm saying this more and more. That's off-season Steve time.
Unlike TNT and some of the other broadcasters, we're trying to work through a solution so that our fans are happy.
Yeah.
I hate stuff like that.
Yeah.
People are like,
Well-
hey, so I tried to order your book and it said 6 months. I'm like, maybe that's just the part of the UK they live in. And then I got like 100 of those, and I'm like, oh, I think this is just Australia's.
You know, maybe we should consider ourselves here a little bit and figure out why we're not sending our streaming guys to each game. You know, if we're going to criticize TNT.
Why am I not flying to the UK
Why
and
are-
reading,
Why-
sitting on their laps and reading them the book?
Okay, I'm gonna hit the button.
All right, hit the button. It's over. Hey, Brad Treliving has said he's considering bringing some Marlies to join the Maple Leafs because the Marley season was over as of yesterday.
Yeah, you can just have them all around. It's the smart thing to do.
Yeah, they can all be the Black
There's no
Aces.
salary cap. Yeah, just have them all around. It's great.
Just to experience it.
Yeah.
Soak it in.
Bring it in.
The Steve Dangle Podcast. Follow the guys on Twitter at Steve_Dangle, at Adam WYLDE, and at Jesse Blake. Connection complete.